Regularly scheduled public meeting of May 16th, 2022, the Township of Washington Township Council. Adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers in January, and this meeting has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board, Electronic Message Board, WCTV, and on the Township website. Please notify the municipal clerk for any disability requirements necessary for attendance at mayor and council meetings. The fire exits are located through the double doors to your right and through the door on your left. Please silence all cell phones. Salute to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Present.
Councilwoman Feeney. Councilman Sears.
Here.
Councilwoman Velez.
Here.
Council President Morgan.
Here. Let the record reflect also in attendance Mayor Calamari, Township Administrator Tovo, Township Attorney Poller, Alex Baris from LVH, and Township Clerk Wachowski. LVH is Lurch Vincie Higgins. Okay. Northwest Bergen Regional Health Commission is the township's local public health services health officer. Please visit their website at www.nwbrhc.org for all COVID-19 related updates, as well as information, contacts for other health-related issues. You can also sign up for their newsletter, which will keep you updated on various health-related topics. The Mobile Motor Vehicle Commission Unit event has been rescheduled to Monday, May 23rd. All those who signed up previously will be receiving an email alerting them to the new date and confirming their spot. VFW Post 6192 will be handing out American flags on Tuesday, May 24th at the Public Library War Memorial from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. The township is still looking for drivers and convertibles for the Memorial Day Parade. Please contact the administrator's office if interested. Memorial Day Parade, Monday, May 30th. The parade will assemble at Clinton Avenue, corner of Washington and Clinton Ave, between 9 a.m. and 9:30 a.m., and will start promptly at 10 a.m. The participants will proceed to Pascack Road and continue to march to the Township of Washington Memorial Monument located at the front of Town Hall across from the Fresh Grocer. The service will start at the monument shortly after the parade. Township offices will be closed Monday, May 30th in observance of Memorial Day. The primary election will be held on Tuesday, June 7th. Polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can now drop off your mail-in ballot at the election ballot drop box located at Town Hall. You can earn $300 on Election Day by becoming a poll worker. If interested, please call the Bergen County Board of Elections at 201-336-6225 for further information. St. Andrews is having a weekly food drive. This benefits the St. Andrews Food Pantry. Their shelves are bare and they feed about 100 families per week. So if you're in a position to donate, please consider. The next meeting of the Township Council will be held on Wednesday, June 8th, beginning at 7:30 p.m. I just have something that I would like to read. Yesterday, May 15th, starts off the National Police Week, and it runs from May 15th through May 21st. Honor, remembrance, and support. That is the message this National Police Week. I would like to express gratitude and acknowledge our police officers and officers everywhere for the sacrifices they make to keep us all safe. In honor of National Police Week, we remember those who lost their lives in the line of duty, and we remain forever grateful for their service and sacrifice. We thank their families and honor them for the sacrifices and loss they will endure for the rest of their lives. As we acknowledge this week on a national level, I ask us all in attendance to bow our head in a moment of silence in recognition of their sacrifice. Thank you. I would like to personally thank our Washington Township Police for their unwavering commitment to our residents. I know I'm not alone when I express gratitude and appreciation for the opportunity that I've been given to raise my children in this town. It is not luck nor good fortune that allows us to experience such a safe place to raise a family, but the professionalism, dedication, and commitment to maintaining safety that our police officers work and live by. It is comforting to know that they are there to protect us, no matter what time the call comes in. As a police officer's wife, it goes without saying that I appreciate our officers every day of the year. As they put on their uniform and head out the door, a quick, almost routine statement is said, "I love you, come home safe." We learn to live with the background noise of worry, as that just comes with the territory. I'm sure this resonates with anyone lucky enough to have an officer in the family. I'm always able to breathe a little easier when I know his tour is over and he's home safe. However, this week, we are reminded that many are not as fortunate. I'm asking that if you have an opportunity, please thank an officer for the work they do, as this week reminds us that they don't all come home safe at the end of their tour. Thank you on behalf of this council and this community to all our police for your willingness to risk your life every day to protect others. Okay, we have no approval of minutes.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we do. We have closed session. February 22nd, 2022. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Excuse me. Council President Morgan.
Yes. Okay, general public comment, limit to 5 minutes per speaker. There are a lot of people here, so I'm going to ask that you fulfill your 5 minutes in one speaking session, please. To participate in the general public comment portion of the meeting, please click on the link below to join the webinar. If by phone, *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute. Each person wishing to address the council shall give his or her name and home address for the record. And we ask that only one person speak at a time with a 5-minute limit. Speakers are to direct all questions to the council president. When the speaker is finished with questions or statements, the council will respond. All members of the public and council are expected to conduct themselves in the proper manner. Any derogatory, abusive, or threatening statements will not be permitted, and the council president will immediately rule such conduct out of order and terminate further comments. Can I have a motion to open public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Is there anyone who would like to come up?
Yeah, I do. Good evening. My name is Steve.
Up to the podium, please. Thank you.
Podium with microphone.
I would like you to stand at the podium, please.
Excuse me?
Can you please stand at the
Right
podium?
behind you.
I
Yeah.
want to talk to these people.
Okay, I need you to talk to Council President. I'm Council President Morgan, and per
I
the,
understand it, but I like to talk to the.
okay, I'm going to ask you to please follow the rules of the meeting if you would like to speak.
Sorry.
They can hear you. It's okay.
You have a microphone, so it'd be good. but-
Everyone can hear you, even the people on the computer.
I came here about taxes.
Okay?
Let me quote Clinton years back.
Excuse me.
Your name and address.
My name is
Sorry.
Steve Maluzuk. I live at 925 Washington Ave, Washington Township.
Thank you.
So let me quote one of our famous presidents. When he came up and said, "It's the economy, stupid." Well, let me rephrase that. It's the taxes, stupid. Okay? So I got my tax papers. And they went up $500. $500. So I came to the town hall. I wanted questions. Well, what did I get? I got a runaround. The business administrator there, he laughed at me. I couldn't get in, so they gave me his phone number. I called him up. The man laughed at me.
Please speak with me. I'm going to ask
The man
you.
laughed at me. Is that right? When I called you? Am I right, sir?
Excuse me. I need you to just
Okay.
take a breath. I want to hear
Okay.
what you have to say.
He laughed at me.
Okay.
The second time, and he hung up the phone. The second time I called him, he told me he was going to have me arrested for inquiring about my taxes. So I said, fine, I waited outside for the police department to come. They did come outside. I'm 73 years old. I had 2 police officers in my face because the man, when I said to him, I wanted questions, he just hung up the phone on me. So let me go back a little bit. 1972 is when I came home from the military.
Thank you for your service.
1972. My government told me I was a killing machine. 18 years old. Well, my government lied to me. Okay? That's 50 years ago. When I came home, my taxes on my first house I purchased were $50. Well, of course, 50 years ago, that's a lot of money to a young kid. Today, my veteran's benefit is $250. Doesn't compare percentage-wise. You do the math. Okay, $50 on 800 is a lot better than $250 on over almost 11,000. So I took the opportunity to go a little further and wanted to know the taxes on the council people. The mayor, Calamari, his didn't go up at all. And I asked why. And what did he say to me? Well, he lives in a condo. Okay. Well, I live on the most busiest exit in Washington Township of 168. You go to my house right now and there's traffic constantly. Now, I counted the cars before I came to the council meeting. 243 cars in less than an hour. Okay, with the noise. Upset? Yes, I'm upset. So now let's go back to 1974. Our infamous Governor Byrne. Well, they came out with, I don't know if anybody is that as old as me, they came out with a 50-cent lottery ticket. That was supposed to end everything. This is what the lies were fed by the government. We had to vote for it, by the way. And we did. The people voted for the lottery. 50 cents a ticket. If you hit the 6 numbers, you get 50,000. That was going to pay for the schools. That was going to take care of the handicapped people. Your taxes more important. Okay. Where will this money go? A few years later, the same governor. Well, that wasn't enough. So they came out with the state income tax. Marvelous. Same thing. It's for schools. It's to keep your taxes lower. It's for the invalid, the seniors. That wasn't enough. So they came out with the lottery. Now we had Big 3 lottery. I mean, our mob has some credibility. They never did what we're doing today. The mob had Big 3, am I right? You can still play it today with the mobsters. Am I right?
I don't want you to lose.
Better return.
I don't want you to lose your 5 minutes. I
Right.
want to help you.
What?
You're almost done with your 5 minutes, but I want to be able to hear what you're
Okay,
here for.
I'm coming to the conclusion
Okay.
with that.
Okay.
So now not only do we have a pick 3, we have a pick 4, we have a pick 6, we have night and day pick 3, pick 4, all this money, scratch-off tickets, like a casino. Where is this money going, people? Ask yourselves, where is this money going? Now, the best of all, 2 years ago, they came out with 25-cent gas tax. I'm sure everybody's upset with the gas tax. Quote, that was supposed to be for infrastructure. Well, at 25 cents a gallon in 2 years, I think they got more than enough. More than enough. Where's this money going? Political gangsters is the way I see it. You can't steal the money fast enough. I'm here and I will not let up, especially with that man when he laughs in my face and hangs up the phone on the taxpayer. You, sir, have some nerve. You want to tell me you didn't laugh at me? I'm right, right? I will be back. I have one more question.
Can I ask you
I'm
something?
going to follow up on this.
Okay.
$5 million for a firehouse? 5 million? You know what I was told? Well, they're building a new firehouse because the ladder truck couldn't fit in. Well, I'm a fireman for 25 years.
1 minute
I
left,
would-
sir.
I wish we had that kind of equipment, okay? Now they're talking about DPW. Well, they want to buy Charlie Brown's, am I right? What's going on here, people? Wake up. I mean, they have the DPW use the old firehouse for the DPW. Does that make sense? Now, I'm gonna continue with my quest. I will not let up with my quest. I will enjoy everything I can and get my answers.
I just want to ask you while we're still on that 5 minutes. I mean, it's up, but I want you to answer this. What question again were you trying to get from Mr. Tovo that you said he hung up on you and laughed at you?
When I called him about my taxes, I got the runaround.
What was
Well,
it you were asking about your taxes?
I was asked, they gave me the runaround, so finally they said, go see the business administrator.
Okay.
But I'm sorry, you can't go, this COVID. But what's his number? They gave me the number. So I called him up. And I told him my name. I said to him about my taxes, why they go up $500.
Mhm.
Okay, the mayors didn't go up $500.
Okay. I just wanted to know
So
the
what do you know
question.
what he did? He laughed at me.
Okay.
And he hung up the phone on me.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. 5 minutes is up, but I do want to end with a comment. If that is true, I'm gonna find out what
That's
happened. But
gospel. He can deny it right now.
Okay.
He's right here. Deny it to
All
the
right.
people. Did you not laugh at
thank you. Thank you. I can't
Well,
have.
let's get it done right now
All
for
right.
all these people.
Listen, I'm so sorry.
Well, I will
Mr.
be back.
Malazuk, is that it?
Mr. Malazuk, I will be back.
Okay, you're more than welcome to come back.
I know
but
I am.
All right, so thank you. I've written down your concerns. I will definitely have somebody call you back and talk to you where the
And
increase
only
is.
one more thing, the only one that I don't understand why he's not complaining is Cassie.
Okay,
His taxes are 17,000 a year.
okay, I need you, sir, excuse me. I need you
Oh, yes.
to follow the protocol of the meeting, or I cannot have people come to the podium. Please have a seat. I will
No,
answer.
I'm done.
Okay, then
I'm
have a good
done.
night. Thank
I
you.
will be back next council meeting.
Okay.
We will address.
And Mr.
my-
Malazuk, I am trying to help you. I did want to get what your question was so that I can follow it up and figure it out and get you an answer back from me so you wouldn't have to run around. I would call you. But I just need you to follow what I'm asking you. I need to
Well,
have control of the meeting.
6 times I came-
Have a seat, please.
One more thing.
I can't have you-
6 times I came to this
Okay.
town to ask questions. You know what they did? 6 times they had 2 police officers. Right
Okay,
behind like
thank
that,
you.
And I'm 72 years old.
Is there
What
somebody
the
else who
hell
would
am I
like to
gonna
come
do
to the
at
podium?
73?
Come on up. Thank you.
You, my friend.
All right, you
are
need to take a seat now. I
No,
said
I did
in the
not.
beginning of this, if I wasn't clear, let me reiterate. We cannot have derogatory or violent or
I'm not even gonna argue with you.
conduct that is not okay, all right? You're not going to get that from us. I don't want it from anyone here.
I live in
Thank you.
95 Washington.
Where are they?
Let's form together because me, myself.
So, Mr. Malazuk, my next call is to the,
Good. Thank you. Good night.
I truly hope that we don't have a night like this. I hope that hasn't set the tone for what this night is going to be, because we are all trying to hear what everyone has to say. So I'm going to ask you to please maintain order. Can I help you?
Desiree,
Yes.
I just need to make a comment. My taxes go up proportionately the same as everyone else's. That statement is absolutely false. I don't get any special exemption for being mayor or anything like that. So I respectfully disagree with that gentleman.
Next.
Okay. Hang on a second. WCTV just said something about, I think he pushed the mic when he went out.
Hello?
So push the mic.
Can you hear me anyway? You don't need a microphone. Just listen.
Bill
I don't want you to strain.
Bill,
She's
is
just
the,
gonna double check.
Bill, is the light on?
Yeah, red light. Red light, green light.
Just talking. Can you just say something? Just say hello.
Hello. Hey, sounds works for me.
It's okay now.
Bill McCall, 58 Hemlock Drive. One thing before I update you, living on Hemlock, as you know, at one time, maybe it was an entrance to the Garden State. I don't know. But we have that little gate at the end, and cars continually come down Hemlock thinking they're entering the parkway and only to end up making a U-turn at my house or the next house. But just so you know, I don't know, maybe a year ago, the town put a dead end sign at the top of at the intersection on top of the street sign. The dead end sign's facing the wrong way. So that's why I think people don't realize it. You would have to be coming from the driveways across the street on Linwood. So people make the turn. I just wanted to point that out. I noticed it a week or two ago. So I want to just, maybe you guys can turn the dead end sign. There's also a small sign that says no interest in GSP, which is, but again, that dead end sign is facing the wrong direction. But I did, and you guys have known I've appeared before this committee numerous occasions. Wanted you to update on the online petition where now it's 774 signatures. Every day continues to garner more and more signatures. And the lawn signs continue to expand throughout the region. And as I appear here, I want to remind you of the immortal George Bailey from the iconic movie It's a Wonderful Life. And if you remember the movie, George goes on a rant to Mr. Potter saying, just remember this, Mr. Potter, that rabble you talk about, they do most of the working and paying and living and dying in this community. Is it too much to ask them to work and pay and live and die in a couple of decent rooms and a bath? Maybe saying to yourself, why is he bringing this up? So it reminds me of our town. Now I acknowledge we are not a region of rabble, but the people here are raising their voices because they believe in something. They believe in the body that has been duly elected to listen to the will of the people. Why? Because they are the people that do the paying. They do the work. They get up every day and live in an area that they want to be proud to call home. In closing, I want to state I support option number 2, building the police department, as opposed to the DPW at the former Charlie Brown site. So I know you're looking into the numbers and the options, and if there's other options out there I'm not aware of, but I do support construction of the police department. Thank you.
Thank you. The only thing I can say to that, I mean, most of it was a statement, is that I will ask Mr. Tovo to please speak with DPW to make sure that the signs are the way they're intended to be and that they make sense.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to come on up?
Paul Imbarato, 191 Linwood Avenue, Township of Washington. Those are two amazing acts. I don't think I'm going to be able to. I'll try to get as best as I possibly can. So, you guys are working hard, I'm sure, on trying to make a decision on what the property is going to be best suitable for the town. That's question number 1. Where have you guys gone, and how far have you been with making the decision? Question number 2 is I see that on the agenda tonight is hiring Iacari and Ovino to be your architect. Have in fact they put any cost budgets together for either the DPW or the police department? Question number 3 is more of a statement of when the decision does come a fact or the decision is being worked on. I think it's really important that you guys are transparent with us. You guys came out and said that an apology was well taken by all of us, that you did not let us know that the property is getting purchased and the resolution is for the DPW. It was on record, and thank you, Mrs. Morgan. I really appreciate that. It was a mistake, and we get it. Everybody makes mistakes. But at this point right now, I think for all of us here, as evidence of transparency is huge. You know, you have a lot of people that don't want the DPW. And we all left here a couple weeks ago with the special meeting, which we appreciated, but it was clear that Mr. Sears, Ms. Velez, and Ms. Feeney kind of were hedging towards the DPW. I believe, Mrs. Morgan, you'll probably pass on the vote, and Mr. Cassio is clearly not going to vote for the DPW. So, you know, you have 3-1 right there with one abstain. The mayor doesn't vote. It's a Faulkner, Faulkner government here. So, you know, it's kind of already said, and I really hope that's not the case, because you guys came out and said that you were going to look into it. And when you left here, when we all left here, it was clear that the decision was made that the DPW is going there. So once again, we're asking for communication. Mayor, I've known you a while. I've known your dad. You know, you're not very good at returning emails or phone calls at all. I have a great respect for your dad. And we need transparency here. We really do. I've been here 30 years. John Crow, how long you been here? 60 years. 60 years. We support Our Lady of Good Counsel. We support the recreation. We support so much. So transparency is critical to government. And that gentleman that was just here, you know, he needed a little bit more transparency. And it's not a joke here. We're all taxpayers. We're all welcoming the police department or a residential. You guys purchased the property. You're purchasing the property. You're in the middle of the due diligence period. You have an opportunity to get out of it. That's great. It'll get picked up. Throw a couple houses there, whatever the case is. But please be transparent. And if in fact what is happening, we ask that the consultants, I believe Azalina's doing the site plan at this time, and Carrie Iavino, obviously you have hired or you will be hiring. Bring your consultants out so we could ask them questions. If in fact the police station, and if you do try to push the DPW to us. But I don't think, thank you very much. I don't think the DPW is going to go very well. You got a lot of fired up people here. And last thing you need is a gentleman like that going times 30. So thank you guys very much. I look forward to hearing those 3 answers to those questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so to answer your question, number 1, I'll answer, and then obviously the council, if you feel you need to answer, of course you can. So the first thing is, oh no, is that the tornado? No. Oh. Okay. All right. So are we working hard on other options? Absolutely. Every day. I mean, honestly, I'm losing sleep over it. I know you guys are losing sleep over it because it affects you in your backyard, in your front yard. I'm losing sleep over it because it's an enormous decision. So no, I have not. We're definitely, options are still up in the air. The architect, the cost, has he put a cost budget together or not? I'm going to let administration answer that just a second. Sending the letter out and apologizing for it and owning it was 100% very easy to do because we did fail in that sense. However, I do want to say we had all recollections. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. We were like, didn't we say send it out? Didn't we talk about sending out letters 200 feet on both directions? We did talk about it. I just don't know where the ball got dropped. So it wasn't that we didn't think about it. It's just that we didn't follow through. And either way, it doesn't matter. It didn't go out to you. So it's a moot point. And that, again, I apologize for. Bringing the architect out for whatever project we decide to do moving forward, I can honestly say I think we've learned our lesson. I know I have. There will never be another project that I don't actually absolutely have somebody come out to discuss and talk and really have input. But we did do that with both the first rendering and the second of the proposed DPW. It was out, and then the residents did come out and say, like, we were talking about what we wanted. The council even talked and said we wanted it to look like a house. So all of those kind of things, the back and forth, that was the intent when we had the rendering up here. So we did have that. We did. I know you're saying no.
No, not the consultants.
No, I'm sorry. We had the feedback from the architect was here, and we had the feedback from the
Mr. Imperato,
residents.
there's no back and forth. Just let her talk. You had your chance to talk.
It's
You
that
can't- we
she's
can't-
I know. No, I'm
She's not asking
responding.
a
I'm so
question.
sorry. No,
Paul, please. You can't have the back and forth.
guys,
Okay.
all right, listen, again, I'm gonna ask. I'll stop all this. All right, I'm done. Is there anyone else who would like to comment or come on up? Come on up, Mr. Conti.
Desiree, I'll just say, the administration is working on the cost estimates, and we will share them with the council and the public as soon as we verified all the numbers, which we're working on now.
Okay,
And then just
just
one other-
moving
one other-
forward though, I'm sorry, Council Vice President, moving forward, if you are stopped because it's not appropriate, we're not going to answer questions. So let's just keep that in mind. Go ahead.
So, I don't want anybody to think I haven't made up my mind. I'm completely on the fence to go either way. So please don't, you can laugh, but it's supposed to, I'm letting you know my honest feelings. I'm not sitting here telling you something that's not true. I'm on the fence because we have a lot of unhappy residents, and we also have the best interests of the town at heart. And that's why I'm on the fence. So just letting you know.
Okay, Mr. Conti.
Anthony Conti, 490 Ridgewood Boulevard North. All the DPW equipment is now I'm sorry, not all. The majority of the equipment from the DPW is now at the swim club, which just so happens to be in my backyard. Thank you
Can you
very
speak
much.
up a little bit, Mr. Conti, please?
It happens to be in my backyard. When I asked the mayor, seeing him there one day, how long will the equipment be there? He told me temporary. I asked him how long temporary is. Is temporary a week? I mean, the Parkway tolls were temporary. What's temporary? He says, to be determined. I kind of lost my temper a little bit, but that was the end of that. So my question is, how long after you receive the grant will the equipment stay there? Will it be moved? If you do not get the grant, will the equipment stay there indefinitely? Question 2. Has anybody checked with the DPW or the EPA regarding parking the equipment on that property? I was brought to my attention today, matter of fact, I sent everybody an email today, I copied it and forwarded it to you, that the LESCO on April 1st reported that you need a secondary report, a secondary environmental study on the property because the property has contaminated soil on it, which I warned you all about months before you bought it, had soil on it that's contaminated, and they want bore samples. When they called Mr. Poller and asked Mr. Poller for who's going to pay for that now that you bought it. Now, you were informed on April 1st, you bought it on April 29th, and you haven't done the report. Nothing has been done. It hasn't even been ordered. They want a secondary study on contaminated soil that was placed on that property in the late 50s and 60s. So, has that been ordered? Are we doing it? Are we testing the soil? We bought property that's contaminated, and now what? Are we liable for it? You're going to put it on all of us to clean it? You knew. You were informed. The town owns many parcels of land. Lincoln Park, 16 acres. Down at Kennedy, there's another big swash of land. Now, I know people are going to tell me we can't cut down the trees to put any equipment down there. I mean, that Lincoln Park goes right up to Hillsdale. You can cut down trees. We can replant trees. But the contamination that's going to come out of those trucks and go into this Mesquidox, I don't even remember the name of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce it either.
That feeds our water ducts. What's cheaper, to plant a couple of trees or to clean our water supply? What about the lake that it's going into? Is it going to contaminate the lake? You guys, I've watched for years at the swim club, people dumping oil in the back there. Nobody did anything. I reported it. Nobody did anything. It was let go for years and years and years. The people on Ridgewood Boulevard North, we've had, when the swim club owned it, we had landscapers, we had dumpsters, we had junk in the back there. Till finally, we had a cease and desist come up against the swim club and everything had to be removed. You just brought it all back. Years of fighting with this town, and the town put it right back where it was, where it's not supposed to be, because the town doesn't have to follow any rules or regulations.
1 minute, Ms. Conti.
Okay, I'll wipe it out with this. Bethany, broken window, $8,000 back in 2019. There was a question asked to the town administrator. What do we pay in, what is our deductible for the insurance? Have we ever got that answer? I never did. I never heard of an answer of what our deductible is. The $8,000 that the tax people paid, did we put anything into our insurance companies? Did we get that money back? What's going on? The firehouse, the taxes that are coming out right now, the bond, our taxes are going to reflect in these taxes here, or we have to wait another year to find out what the firehouse is going to cost us, or after you pay another $1,600,000 for a piece of property, then put more DPW on top of it. Guys, stop spending my money. Stop. It's too much. I warned you before. Don't buy the swim club. It's contaminated soil. I know I stood at this podium and said it. I had more, but I'll stop because I don't want to break the rules.
Thank you. So there were several questions. Do you want to go out of order to answer them?
I can answer some.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll try to speak about facts and not fiction, okay? Mr. Conti? Okay. So there's no oil. There's no oil contamination. There's no soil contamination from oil. There's no contamination of any kind of that nature, okay? What there is as a result of the phase one, there are maps, there are DEP maps, and there are maps which have to do with the Garden State Parkway. Now, the Garden State Parkway was built in the 1950s, as you well know, right? And when they did the Garden State Parkway, there's fill that they used in the 1950s, which the Highway Authority or the Parkway Authority, whichever owned it at the time, they did the fill at that particular point in time. There is no evidence right now that there's anything on the swim club property itself, okay? However, the maps of the DEP are general maps. And so just to be safe, it was recommended that a phase two be done to make sure that unacceptable material could have been used to fill for the parkway, like concrete or things of that nature, not oil, things of that nature, but the kind of fill that they wouldn't allow today. So to be safe, it was recommended that LISCO, which is the environmental consultant, do a phase two. And the phase two they have been hired to do. As far as paying for the investigation and the whatever there is, it was agreed when this thing was recommended by LISCO that there should be a shared responsibility between the swim club and the town if there is anything to remediate. When I say remediate, not the same remediation as was here of digging up soil, but just doing, putting macadam on it, doing whatever it has to be done, not a lot. It was costed out. The total cost was $75,000, $36,500, half of that is the responsibility of the swim club. The money for that has been escrowed as part of the closing, and the money is being held in escrow for that. In addition, to compensate the town for having gone through a phase two, which it normally would have the entire responsibility for, we required the swim club to pay half of that as well, and that money is in escrow as well. That work has not been done by Lisco as of yet. It's scheduled to be done shortly, and that's what's going to be happening as far as Lisco is concerned. So that's the facts. That's where it is. The other stuff that you kind of mentioned doesn't exist, and just wanted to put it out there.
Okay. So then there were other questions that he'd also asked. How long after the grant will we keep the equipment there? If we get the grant, will it stay there indefinitely? Lincoln Park, Kennedy Park, can we cut down trees because there are other options there? And Bethany, broken window, $8,000. What is our deductible? Anyone care to answer?
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. Number one, regarding the timing of storage of DPW equipment or vehicles at that location, grant or no grant, it's not relevant. The vehicles are being parked on currently impervious coverage areas. It's not part of this grant, nor would it be any violation of DEP regulations. Your second question regarding deductibles is $2,500. In the case of Bethany, it was determined by the JIF that it was wear and tear, which they do not cover. That's all I have.
Okay.
Mr. Chova, could you just explain like what they mean by wear and tear? So the insurance company denied our claim, correct?
Correct. It is.
Okay, and the equipment being stored at the property, and while that makes sense because we own it and we need a place to store the equipment, I would like there to be future conversation about hedgerows or something to address some of those residents' concerns. So please, let's put that on the agenda at some point that we, very soon, we need to address that. I would like to talk about that because there has been some feedback from the residents that that is a necessary, to assist them with what's now in their view. Okay. The Lincoln Park and Kennedy Park, that I think we can email and talk about that, and if that's an option. Mr. Sears, you would know a little more being.
Lincoln Park is a Class A waterway that goes through it. You're not going to be able to build. You have to basically stay at home or an open space.
Okay. I'm not familiar with Kennedy, so I'm just saying if there are other options, maybe that's something that we can, talk on an email just to get feedback.
I'm sorry, I missed the Kennedy question. That was also purchased with open space money, so we cannot build on that.
It's open space
Yeah.
money? Okay. All right. Those are all the questions, I believe. Is there, yes, okay. Is there anyone else who would like to?
Vandenberg in Washington, the first block
Yes, come on up.
down there.
Oh, I know.
Parallel to where you are.
So, Rose Candeletti, 46 Hemlock Drive. About a month ago, you said you would look into my Oprah request for the DPW information I requested. The original response I received stated that you needed till May 18th, which is 2 days away. If my requests are not filled by that date, I should consider the request denied. Did anyone look into my first questions are, did anyone look into my requests? And I thought public access to information was the purpose of Oprah requests. And why are my Oprah requests being denied? At the end of the DPW meeting on May 3rd, council members said there were other options for them to consider for the location of the DPW other than Charlie Brown's. The only option proposed to the public was for the DPW to stay at its current location and the police department to go to Charlie Brown's location. Most of the residents and neighbors in the Charlie Brown's area feel the police department is the better option of the two. We feel the police department will be less intrusive into our daily lives. There won't be trucks running all day on Saturday for drop-offs. There won't be excessive noise and trucks and equipment at 7 a.m. every morning. So my next question is, what other options are you considering for the DPW? Or is that the only one? On May 11th, the mayor posted on his Facebook page the following quote to residents in the swim club area addressing the storage of the DPW equipment at the swim club. Quote, I understand this may be a less than ideal situation for some of the local residents. We kindly ask for your patience and understanding as we move towards creating a new DPW facility. And once again, you have my commitment that the DPW operations will not be located at the swim club property. So the mayor is showing concern to these residents in the swim club area just for storing DPW equipment on a town-owned land and committing to them that they will not be putting the DPW operations on that property. My question to both the mayor and council is, will you show the surrounding residents and neighbors of Charlie Brown's property the same courtesy and respect you just gave to the swim club residents? My next question is to both the mayor and council. Will you make the same commitment tonight to the residents and neighbors of Charlie Brown's property to commit to us that you will not be putting the DPW operations at Charlie Brown's location? Then on May 13th, the mayor posted on his Facebook page that he needs more time to get the numbers to make a decision. We have a construction business that we've been in for 35 years. And I know if I was buying a piece of property, I would know my development costs before I locked into a property. Architects and engineers cost projections every day. They were able to come up with a new rendering in a couple of days. They surely can come up with projections in 2 weeks. So please do not respond that you are still waiting to review the costs to make a DPW decision. You should already have those costs and have a decision on the DPW now. It is my opinion you are just delaying this to get past the person's cancellation date of June 14th. At that point, I fear that you would tell us you have no choice but to put the DPWs at Charlie Brown's. I pray every night that this does not happen and that you don't pull a bait and switch on us. The town is now down to 29 days to back out of the purchase of this property. Mr. Pola said he won't cancel the purchase at the last minute and advised the council on the May 3rd meeting they needed to make a decision soon. Now you are delaying again, and with no meeting in 2 weeks because it's Memorial Day, that brings us to June 8th, which is 6 days before you have the chance to back out of the deal. So will you give us your decision on the DPW tonight, or will you hold another special meeting before Memorial Day to let us know the final plan for the DPW? Mr. Pola said the town would be doing studies during the due diligence period. Have the traffic, environmental, safety, and logistics studies been done yet? If not, when will they be done? And when will we have access to them? If these studies are not done and not available yet, and you say you need more time to get your costs together, then don't you think you should back out of this deal or at least extend your contract cancellation date to a later date until you have the data you need to make an informed decision and actually know what you are putting on that property? The town applied for a $675,000 grant for the purchase of the swim club. The grant is not guaranteed, and the town won't know if it will get that grant till later this year. The town is in the process of spending double that amount of the grant money, $1.35 million, to purchase 95 Linwood. If you didn't take that grant, that you might not get anyway, the town would be spending $675,000 less, and the swim club property would have no restrictions on its development, or it could be used or developed by the town for any purpose. You could use a section of that 6-acre property for the DPW in the back. If this project were truly about the numbers, the town would not be purchasing the property at 95 Linwood Avenue and spending $1.35 million and taking a rateable off the books, and you would utilize properties you own. So why is this then my last question, why is this town applying for a $675,000 grant to purchase the swim club property when the grant will restrict the use of the land and spending an extra $1.35 million for Charlie Brown's that could be used for development? As I said, most residents in the area, including myself, are in favor of the police department at Charlie Brown's site. So if you are true to your word, Mayor, and you are truly listening to your residents, then my question is, will you take putting the DPW at 95 Linwood Avenue off the table tonight? Thank you for listening.
Thank you. So did anyone look into Mrs. Candiletti's Oprah request? Can we have an answer for that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mrs. Candiletti, I do have your Oprah request, and yes, it is due on Wednesday due to the extension. It is not denied. I am still, unfortunately, the last week I've been trying to get some information for you on those emails, and we've had a technical difficulty with the third party. Every day I've been asking, I have somebody else that's got to work on it. It's not something I can just do. I have to get somebody else to help. So I was going to see what happened tomorrow and then reach out to you and let you know where I'm at. But no, it's still, I'm planning on getting it to you on Wednesday unless something happens. Okay?
What other options are we considering for DPW? there's nothing set. I mean, we're not, there's so much we still have to talk about and think about, and we don't have all the information on any one particular site. So I don't think that we're close to making a decision, at least I'm not. So what other options are we considering? All of the options, whatever there are. So I don't know if anyone else wanted to speak to that. And will we commit to not putting DPW on Charlie Brown's property? We're not committing to anything at this point. We don't have any we don't have any decisions set in stone. And then cost on DPW, and that was directed to the mayor. That's what her question was.
I don't, like I said earlier, I don't have the costs yet. We don't have the architect full-time. I told him, or I asked him to please rearrange his priorities just to get us the renderings of the police department very quickly. He was able to do that. He's now catching up on the other clients that he has. I expect to have numbers later this week that I will share with the public and the council as soon as they're verifiable numbers. I'd just like to make one comment about taking a rateable off of the town. Every time in history, private property was a rateable, and then it got sold to a nonprofit or something like that. So it's not the first time that a town needs to take a rateable off the town's tax roll in order to continue to service the residents. So as much, I don't like it as much as anyone. I don't like giving up a rateable, but we need the space for one or the other, in my opinion. So I'm just going to say, through history, rateables come off, unfortunately, because the town does need room to grow. So that'd be my comment about rateables.
Okay. So any other comments from the council at all?
It's okay. So I have not made a decision, right? Somebody came up earlier and said that their opinion is that I've already made a decision. I told you at the special meeting, until I see numbers for everything, I'm not ready to make a decision, right? Costs are going up. We can see that. So I have not made a decision. And that's all I can say about DPW at Charlie Brown's or police department at Charlie Brown's.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to come up? You'll come right. I'm so sorry. I don't have an answer for that. Oh, okay, Mr. Pollard.
Okay, so we did do a title report, title search. That was one of the things that we did, so I have that. The other one that we had to do was a survey, and we have a full survey done. And the environmental was done. More work has to be done on that. Those are the three things in terms of the consultants that I have in terms of the acquisition requirements. So those are mine.
Okay, come on up.
How you doing? Patrick Fay, 107 Cosmo Street. Just a couple of quick questions, follow up from last time when I was here. I was just wondering if, I'm not sure if you guys have the DPW, do they clean out the streams and stuff like that? There's a few blockages behind Sherry Field. There's a tree down, and I'm sure there's many of them all over the place that's, blocking some of the waterways here. Flooding is a big problem, and I'd kind of like to have that looked at and taken care of. I know you guys are very busy with other things. I understand that. But please keep it in the back of your heads. I also gave you guys my brother-in-law's, he's on the board for Pumpkin Lakes. If you guys, I don't know if any of you got in contact with them, they could give a lot of guidance with the flooding and what they went through and what they had to do to stop the flooding in their town. So far, they have not flooded yet. So whatever they've done has worked. So I'm just wondering if you guys were able to get a chance to reach out to them. I understand you guys are very busy with all the DPW stuff and the police department stuff. And, I just wanted to be quick tonight, and that's it. So thank you, I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Thank you. I can answer your question, and I apologize. I keep carrying around your brother-in-law's card. Each time I pull it out at work to call him, I shouldn't be saying that, but each time I go to call him, I keep getting distracted. So that's my fault. I will absolutely call him tomorrow and talk to him, just see if there's something, maybe we can connect him with our, DPWs, or at least gain information from him, what they did, see what his recommendations are. It can't hurt. So I apologize, though I dropped the ball. That was me. And your first question was, does DPW clean up, what was it? The brook? What was it?
Do they go in and take care of the minor things? Not talking about, of course, they don't do the dredging and all that stuff like that, or whatever has to be done. But do they go in and pull the trees out that are down?
Okay.
There's blockages right behind the baseball field. There's blockages right now.
Okay, so I just missed the first part of what you had asked. So I don't know. Go ahead, Mr. Tova, you can answer.
If there are areas that are on our property and we do have access, and depending on the size of it, yes, we will go in and clean it up. Obviously, on the bigger ones, we don't have the ability to get to it or to lift it out. There's also one more category to that. There are some areas not owned by us. For example, the school board does own some of it. I'm working with them to clean up the area on their property. So all these steps will help you in the long run.
Okay.
Desiree, I
Yeah.
have something to add. In our meeting last week with the engineers, this topic did come up. And Bob, I forget if they said they either reached out to the council person already or were going to. But I know it's on their radar, the engineers, because they can talk best to what they did down there. And in our meeting, we also spoke about them droning all the waterways in our town. They seem to think the price is going to be pretty reasonable, so we're waiting on a formal proposal from them to drone all the waterways. That way we can look for choke points and see how to properly address them.
Thank you.
This is his card. I literally have it in the bag that I walk around at work. So I keep meaning to. It's right here. I'm so sorry. I will handle it tomorrow. Thank you. All right. Is there, yeah, you can come on up.
Tony Plantamura, 808 Robinwood Road. I'm getting up here again to reiterate the fact that you're talking about putting a police department, possibly where the DPW might go, that you're considering. I don't even understand why anybody in the audience would even agree to a police department without knowing the final numbers and how it's going to raise their taxes, because everybody here is concerned about taxes. I'm here to reiterate the fact what I said last time. If the state continues to do the status quo, I do believe that the next generation is going to be left out of buying anything in this state. Like I said, my daughter, the third generation, is not going to be able to afford the house my parents built. And I found interesting papers in my house because I save everything. And my house with that my parents built with the land back in 1956 cost them $19,000. The taxes were less than $200. Now we're at the point where I'm paying a little over $13,000, and we did a projection in the next 4 to 5 years with all the spending that's going on in this town. I'm projecting $17,000 my taxes are. That is totally out of line of what a younger generation is earning right now. You know, and the other thing that I really bothers me about this state, the amount of money that is being spent without any regard to people that I know who lost their jobs due to COVID, and all this money that's being spent at the federal level, they think we're a cash cow for their status quo projects. So what I would really like to do is see this council, like I said last time, do something different. Take the lead, because the state does not have the wherewithal to change the status quo, and consolidate your DPW and your police department, and you should have done it with your fire department instead of spending $6 million on a volunteer fire department. And I have the utmost respect for firefighters. Again, my son-in-law is a paid firefighter in New Jersey, in North Jersey, who cannot afford a house in this North Jersey section. That is a very, very sad statement to say, but that is it. So my feeling is, if we are going to have a council that continues to spend money where they're going to basically cause probably the next generation of not being able to settle. And I am affected by that because I've been here since '56 and my daughter cannot afford it, over $1,000 a month just to pay the taxes. Then you got mortgage, insurance, car payments, food. Now you can't find baby formula. Then how about a recall from the mayor or the council members? Did anybody ever think of that? Maybe we can have a recall. I did it for the turf field. And then I remember I was here last time and somebody's actually saying, let's get a turf field now again. Are you kidding me? Another $3 million, $4 million, whatever it's going to cost now. And I think somebody made a statement that I brought up about that turf field. You can answer my question. Open space. If any grants or taken from the Green Acres Fund, you cannot develop that property. Is that true? Does that mean artificial turf?
I don't know.
I asked that question when I stopped the turf field. Well, I'd like that question answered, because when I heard that from a gentleman here, I don't want to pay for it. And I'm not going to be able to stay here much longer, tell you the truth. We have no quality of life. I am not blaming these council members, all of you. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. The state has no plan to oversee when is enough enough. It takes me forever to get from one town to the other now. It's very, very disconcerting to me. This is not the Washington Township I grew up in. And I am not blaming all this on you. I blame it on the state and the county with all this social re-engineering stuff they're doing. And we have to pay for it. We always got to pay for somebody else who's not paying. I don't want to pay anymore. They don't want to pay anymore. You need to listen. I think we should have had a referendum on the fire department. We should have a referendum on the DPW. And we should have a referendum on the police, if you're going to build a new police department here. I'd like to see you merge with about 3 or 4 more towns. I don't know why anybody isn't talking about that. The state needs to do that. We cannot have home rule anymore. You're not going to have anybody moving into the state. It's the #1 state that people are moving out of. That should be a sign. You need to do something about the taxes, but
Tony,
you
your time
can't.
is up, and I'm going to let you finish your thought.
You can't. It's not your fault. You can't change things unless it's done at the state level. You got to consolidate police, fire, and school districts. And just one more thought. I was down in Georgia in March visiting 2 friends that went to Westwood High School with me. We've been friends for 50 years. My girlfriend has 3-bedroom house with an acre of property in Georgia in her county. They forgive school taxes for the seniors at 62 and over. What
I'm
a
sorry.
novelty. $500 a year she pays.
Thank you.
$500 a year.
Thank you. So I heard a question in there about Green Acres. If it's used, are we allowed to utilize turf? I don't think turf is on the horizon anytime soon, but you asked it, so I will ask the expert on the panel right now. Mr. Sears, would you know that answer? And if not, could you find the answer? Okay.
But I'm pretty sure Mr. Tubman knows the answer.
Do you know the answer? If Green Acres is used, are we allowed to utilize turf? Is that considered violating it?
In my time here, that question has never come up. It's only been a passive or active recreation. I will ask the question. I actually don't know the answer.
You'll find it.
Okay. So when we find it, will you email
Yes, ma'am.
Tony? Okay. Can you CC me on it too, just so I know the answer?
Sure.
All right, thank you. Were there any other questions on there that anyone feels that they can answer? Okay. Would you like come on up. Sorry, I couldn't see your hand. Was your hand up? Okay.
Annette Dushura, 62 Edgewood Drive. First of all, I'd like to thank the mayor and the council members who support him for looking into an alternative plan for the Charlie Brown site. My husband and I strongly support another option rather than the DPW there, and the police department is certainly an option that is viable and we would support. I think our police in this town deserve a building, a state-of-the-art building that they can be proud of. The question that I have is this. Members of the council have stated on record more than once at regular meetings and also at the May 3rd special meeting that there were several options in recent years to purchase different properties for the DPW. So I have two questions. The first one is, what specifically were those properties that keep getting referenced? And what structures, if any, are currently located on those properties? Thank you.
Thank you. Just a second. Okay. Okay, there, I have no answer for that. Does anyone else care to answer? I'm not sure. The questions were, what were those properties that continue to get referenced, about what options we could have had, and what structures are on those properties currently?
I'll take a shot at answering some of them.
Okay.
I'll answer one of you.
There are two that I can recall. One was on Pascack Road where the horses used to be, for those of you who've lived in town for a while, when that was for sale a few years back. And the other one was, we were talking about talking with the Bethany Community Center about maybe taking a piece of their property, subdividing it. However, that did not come to fruition. Those are the two that I can readily think of offhand.
There was one more, we were talking about I don't even know what to call it. It's the parcel of land that sits behind Stone Mill Gardens.
Speak louder.
Sorry.
It's okay.
The parcel land that sits behind Stone Mill Gardens, but behind the high school. It's kind of off Pascack. But we determined it wasn't large enough, I think, at the time. And there was one other.
So there's nothing on it currently, though?
No, it's just woods, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there was one other option.
The other option was at one time was the Greek
Speak
church.
into here.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
The other
right.
one was the Greek church that is right down there.
Bethany used to be.
Yeah, the old Bethany,
Yeah.
yes, the old Bethany,
Okay.
yes.
That's the one I couldn't remember, yes.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Is there anyone else who'd like to come up? I'm sorry.
Good evening, Julianne Lipnick, 184 Finnerty Place. Council President, thank you very much for answering my email. You were the only response I got regarding the three girls that I nearly clipped in the pouring rain, running through the berm, through the bushes to cross the street because there's no other place to cross anymore. But I thank you for taking the time out.
You're welcome.
Mr. Imparato referenced transparency, and it is a big thing with me. Back in January, I stood before you addressing an article about a grant for parks and playgrounds. My question was, did we apply for it? If we did, why didn't we get it? And if we didn't apply for it, why not? That was back in January 27th was the article, and I stood here at the next council meeting. It is now the end of May. I've got no answer. 2 weeks ago, I asked again, and obviously it's a subject you don't want to address. You've given me my answer by telling me nothing. And that means it was never applied for and fell on deaf ears. And you can't have transparency. You choose to answer, I should say, questions that you're most comfortable with. And for the most part, let the others just go by the wayside. The other is, I stood before you almost a year ago, and I came up here talking about a possible fundraiser with Legacy Books. I've gotten Zippo on that one too. If it's not your idea, it's not a good idea. That's the impression I get. I've even reached out to the fire department, and because the site is so up in the air right now, they can't do anything. So I've got boxes. I'm going to Emerson. I can't wait for you. In reference to Tony's talk about the taxes, this is in a recent article. $16.5 million budget brings $35 bump for average taxpayer. It's Hillsdale. And before they voted on the budget, the mayor said, "Why do we need to tax the residents when we're just emerging from a pandemic? Looming recession, thanks to Washington and Trenton. We have record inflation. It's almost as if we don't care what happens to our residents. It's all unnecessary tax." I salute him for his comment.
Thank you.
About regarding the inquiry with the grant, I know that we all asked, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Tovo, do you have any, there was supposed to be a statement, I believe, from the grant writer that we were going to obtain. Do we have that by chance? Sorry, go ahead.
Been addressed on several occasions. The majority of playground grant money comes from Bergen County. We just don't qualify to apply for those grants.
So we're saying the grant writer has said he reviewed it and it's not, we do not meet the qualifications for that grant.
Correct.
Do we have an email from him that we can put out saying that, so that gets, or can you forward that to Mrs. Lipnick?
I'm sure we have more than one.
I do think we have to do something. I don't know if it's like a, Washington Township Grant Corner or something that we put on our website that shows what grants we've applied for, what grants we did get, we didn't get, just so that I agree that if you don't speak about it, it sounds like we're not doing something. But if he is going after the grants and he's, doing his due diligence and trying to get them, he might as well get it, he might as well get acknowledgement for that, so that the taxpayers see that the person that we're paying to do this work is actually doing it. And, I just think it would be more visible for people if we had an area that they can click on to see what grants are in progress and what we're working on. Can we look into that, please?
We can, yes.
Okay. I don't know if it's on other websites, if they do that other places, but it's just what I would, I think would help with some of the questions, like why we don't go for that grant. We very well might have. It just doesn't get articulated.
Yeah. Mrs. Lipnick, I don't know what you're referencing in terms of legacy books. Maybe that was before I came on council, but I'm interested in that. So if you will provide us or me a chance to at least take a look at it, I'd be happy to inquire.
Okay. And also, I appreciate the comment and the acknowledgement, but that's my pleasure. And we'll be talking about that later on. I don't know if you saw the agenda for later, but we will be discussing Finnerty Place later. You're welcome.
Desiree? I have a statement that would take me about 2 minutes to read that I think now is an appropriate time that you bring up about Hillsdale and their tax rate. I had it. I didn't know if I was going to get to use it tonight or at the next meeting when I do a monthly report, but I think now it's appropriate. Some have asked me about the timing of property acquisitions and proposed upgrades to the town during my administration. 4 years ago, when I was first elected mayor, I took over a town that was in significant disrepair. The voters, residents, and even the candidates all agreed on that. I believed then, as I do now, that it was and is still the time to do something about it. I had and have no control over when properties and opportunities arise. 4 years ago, no one could have foreseen the events of the last 2 years. But as always, crisis creates opportunity. While it would be great to have the luxury of time when seizing opportunities, sometimes they need to be acted on quickly. The private sector moves much faster than the public sector, and so sometimes, if we wait, we lose out. I meet with the department heads and professionals on an almost daily basis. I, as well as anyone involved in the town, know and see firsthand what their needs are. And almost universally, the number one concern of the larger departments is lack of appropriate space for them to properly conduct the business of serving our residents. So I stand by seizing these terrific opportunities to acquire properties and use them productively to help solve our current problems and to benefit the town and its residents for generations to come. I believe that for far too long, previous administrations squandered opportunities and simply kicked the problem cans down the road. They ignored or simply put Band-Aids on gaping wounds that festered into the conditions at the old firehouse, the old DPW, the current police headquarters, the Washington-Pascack Road intersection, and even our recreation fields. Many agree that had some opportunities in the past been acted on and acted on quickly, many of the problems we now face would not be an issue. The bottom line is short-sighted thinking and penny-wise but pound-foolish mindsets cost this town in the long run. We should not be repeating the mistakes of the past. We can and should learn from those mistakes and take action. And yes, opportunities and upgrades cost money. Certainly, no one likes tax increases, but the municipal portion of your tax bill here in Washington Township has stayed relatively stable. For years, there have been zero or very slight increases. You will notice, however, that your tax bill has gone up. These increases have primarily been your school and county taxes. They have increased disproportionately compared to the municipal portion. Consequently, by investing in themselves, they have steadily improved their services and facilities over time, while Washington Township was allowed to stagnate. That should be unacceptable. We need to focus on and invest in our town. Residents expect and deserve value and ever-increasing scope and quality of facilities and services from the town for their tax dollars. And they look to their elected officials and professionals to deliver them. So I firmly believe we need to invest in ourselves and our community to bring Washington Township into the modern era and hopefully even exceed those expectations. As I have repeatedly said, I firmly believe the quality of the facilities and services here in Washington Township should reflect the quality and residents that live here and the people that serve them. So I thank you for letting me read that. It does explain many things, I think.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to come up? Come on up.
Bring your sweat, extra strength.
Lynn Pistono, 631 Washington Avenue. At the last meeting, Mayor Calamari stated that our taxes will be raised by $18 per $1 million spent. Well, between the Emergency Services Building, Charlie Brown's, the Swim Club, and Pascack Road purchases, then the cost of studies, plans, improvements, and new buildings, that all adds up to be quite a lot of millions of dollars. Also at the last meeting, Councilwoman Velez stated she was working on a project to keep this a senior-friendly town. Well, if you ask me, with all these millions of dollars being spent, our taxes being raised probably in the hundreds to fund these millions, and then having the school tax added on top of that, it doesn't sound very senior-friendly to me, more like let's push the seniors out. These are people on fixed incomes trying to make ends meet with rising out-of-control inflation and basic necessities and their medications. Maybe this is your way to get the seniors out. As stated in the past meeting, your re-election ploy was to lower taxes, only now that you are in office to raise them up over the next year or so. You know, Mr. Mayor, you won the election by only 45 votes. Too bad all this BS wasn't done prior to November, and sadly and with grateful respect, Janet Sopkowitz passed too soon. because perhaps the truth would have come out. I have been speaking about the injustices going on, and now that your actions are reaching more citizens, their eyes are finally being opened. We understand the dilemma the folks at Charlie Brown's are experiencing. They are a united group. We near the emergency services building couldn't get that cooperation, especially from the homes behind the new building. So I'm wondering why. Were those families offered some sort of a deal? Number 2, what's the story with all the variances being requested by the BP on Washington Avenue? Is there any objection from the mayor and council, or did you work out a deal with them as well? The emergency services building is going to be lit up like Las Vegas in the night, and now we're going to have the BP lit up like Giant Stadium with a canopy and additional lights and signs to brighten up the other end of Washington Avenue. Things are out of control here, and you are all a big part of it. I don't want to hear your sympathetic rhetoric. We hear you and we feel for you. What I want to hear from you is what you're going to do to stop this. I hope those here at tonight's meeting will support us and call into the zoning board meeting tomorrow night to say no to the variances. Number 3, the trench on Washington Avenue in front of the emergency services building is sinking, and the noise it generates in the quiet of the night is unbearable. Perhaps this could be fixed again and maybe done right, so I don't need to complain a third time about this. And number 4, at this time in history where inflation is outrageous and shortages are everywhere, all you want to do is spend money you don't have and raise taxes. Honestly, it's not a good idea. You may be in a predicament, but now is not the time for doing what you're doing. It's time to tighten up the belts. I get the fact you're unconcerned about devaluing properties, but maybe hold off on your game plan until the economy turns around. I hope the voting population is listening. Maybe these projects aren't in your neighborhood, but they will all, without a doubt, affect your pocketbooks. Come primary election time, you should cast your vote and let your voices be heard. As always, a big thank you to our police departments and volunteers. Thank you.
Thank you. Before you go, just a quick question. I just want to double check something. The trench you're saying in front of the EMS building, that's the same one that we talked about that was fixed and repaired?
Yes.
Okay,
And it's horrible.
thank you.
It shakes the foundation on Freddie's house.
Thank you. Mr. Tovo, do you remember when I contacted you about that and it was like done immediately? Is
There's
there a
no-
sinkhole under that?
No, there's still some continued work being done on the EMS side of the building, but there's no trench per se there. I was there on Friday, but I will look again tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
May I make a comment?
Yes.
All right, in terms of, yes, I have since January been working on what's called Age Friendly New Jersey. You're welcome to look it up. It's senior services to give them a better quality of life within the township so they can continue to age. It has nothing to do with their taxes. I've also been up here asking for volunteers to join that committee, and I have yet to receive one email from a resident. So if you're interested, Mrs. Pastano, I welcome you to join because you don't need to be a senior. You can be of any age, and I welcome opinions, ideas, because while they are here, I welcome them. But if you go on their website, it says nothing about helping with taxes. It is about offering them one. And in fact, May is Older Americans Month, and this Friday, for the first time, we are offering a senior cinema day for our seniors 60 and over, right? They just have to email Public Affairs and they can make a reservation. So we are doing stuff for our seniors, and I know Mr. Jim Joyce does a fantastic job with the golden seniors. So to say that we're trying to push them out, that is incorrect. In fact, I'm trying to embrace them. I'm trying to embrace our seniors. They matter just as much as everybody else. Thank you.
Thank you. As far as the BP variance, what is happening with that, Mr. Tovo?
That's before a separate board, so we really can't comment on anything until it's heard by them.
Okay, is it,
Well, I'm sorry, you can't laugh about this. The boards are independent. We cannot get involved in what they do.
so do we find out about them though before the vote goes through? Or do we just find out about it? How does that work? Just for my own knowledge, because I didn't know about this.
The mayor sits on the board, I'll defer to him.
Okay.
No, actually, I sit on planning. That's
Oh, I'm sorry.
And you all have to be especially careful because you appoint the zoning board members. So any talking you do, and Ken, does he?
He stepped
Okay.
out for a second.
I'll speak then and say, anything you say could be undue influencing that board. And so
Okay.
I caution you in Ken's absence
Okay,
not to talk about it.
okay. Anyone would like to come up?
No, but you should actually just let them know they can refer to the zoning board directly if they have questions.
Well, yeah, there's a zoning board meeting tomorrow night, so.
Yeah.
Mhm. Come on up.
John Pastono, 631 Washington Avenue. I think you all know me by now. I'm a senior. I'm a homeowner. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I've been in this town over 40 years. You see me on that lawn every day. I put 10 to 12 hours a week on that joint, okay? Bottom line is, last week, we get a certified letter from an attorney up at Woodcliff Lake with respect to the BP. All right? My wife is working. I get the letter. I think it's something directed to her. So we lose Friday because she's at work, Saturday and Sunday. Monday, she goes downtown. They didn't deliver. They just left a note, come again. So that was 4 days lost, right? I think it's 10 days that certified mail allows you to respond. And basically, I've got copies of that letter here. And I'm astounded that you're all sitting there saying, we don't know nothing about it. That's an independent board, whatever. Okay? We're taxpayers. We're voters. We're fed up. Hi, everybody on Washington Avenue. It's me again. And here we are again. The taxes are getting astronomical in this town. You chase my Marine out of here. He devoted 5 years to this country. Don't know some of the stuff he was in, other than protecting the embassy in Yemen. And he fought like a tiger to survive that, okay? So with that said, what's going on, everybody? We're sick and tired of hearing the same stuff. We don't know that's somebody else's responsibility. Mr. Mayor, with all due respects, you were just reelected by the slimmest possible margin, all right? And I don't like what's going on in this town. I really don't. I'm tired of paying these ridiculous taxes and seeing this town turned upside down. I understand the predicament with the DPW, the police department. I understand that. And I understand the difficulties involved in it. I'm glad I don't have to make these decisions, okay? I think you're on the right track. Really and truly think about it, because you're closing in on 1,000 angry residents. That's got to mean something to you, Mr. Mayor, because it would to me. You can't have all these angry taxpayers and voters, because these people are gunning you. And Tony made a comment with respect to recall. Is that what you're looking for? It's not something I would look forward to. But I'll tell you what, you keep pushing these buttons, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You've got a lot of angry taxpayers and a lot of angry citizens. And by God, I'm one of them. I'm protecting my little piece of real estate from all of this craziness and stuff. But you know what? I'm starting to question my efforts. I'm starting to question if this town is really worth it at this point. You've heard a lot of this tonight, and this is a very small population in this room tonight. That TV, there's hundreds and hundreds of people watching us tonight, okay? Beware, beware. It's the tip of the
45
iceberg,
seconds, Mr. Pistono.
okay? I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. Things are going to happen if you continue on this path. I'm serious. So with that said, I would take a look-see at that BP stuff, because last meeting, we complained about the lights being flipped on at the firehouse. It lit that neighborhood up like a bomb went off, like napalm went off, okay? He understands what I'm talking about. Now, a 50, 60-foot canopy with 3 signs additional. Don't make me go downtown and pull up all the accident reports at that BP station. And that's only the tip of the iceberg. For all of these years, I've paid thousands and thousands of dollars for additional insurances to protect against catastrophes at that station. I have letters and letters and letters from legal people, Getty.
Mr. Pistono, your time's up, but I'm going to let you finish
Very
out your
good.
thought.
Very good.
You can finish.
So with that said, you better start addressing this stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Mr. Tovo, you're going to look into the trench, as Mrs. Pistono mentioned, for everybody that was listening, regarding the BP variances, there's a zoning board meeting tomorrow night. I didn't hear any other questions, so there's someone else on the line? Okay. Thank you. Are they ready?
Good evening. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you tell me your name and your address, please?
Yes, good evening. Fred Mahudi, 649 Washington Avenue. I have been calling for the past almost 4 weeks now regarding the mentioned trench on Washington Avenue. That is, this trench was dug up by the contractor, not by the PCNG. It was by the contractor to put in the sewer line. I was there looking at it when they did it. They dug a significant amount of hole to get to the drain, the sewer line. Bottom line, when they filled this back up, they put the initial layer of asphalt. Immediately the next day, the whole thing sank down. There was a meeting regarding, I called about it. There was a meeting with Mr. Connolly and the township regarding, and that was one of the items in the agenda. The next day, Mr. Connolly was on site. He looked at it with the project manager, and they brought more asphalt and filled it back up. And immediately after, again, the whole thing got ripped up because the road wasn't even blocked. No proper equipment was used. They used a hand compressor that is loose for building a patio to compact that asphalt. Shortly after, a few days later, the police department came and put this massive cone in the middle of Washington Avenue to prevent cars from hitting this trench that's been just sinking in the middle of Washington Avenue. And every single time, as you know, this is a county road. Every single time a tractor trailer, a truck hits this thing, my entire house shakes. My windows rattle. My little baby girl wakes up screaming. This is unacceptable. My quality of life due to this construction across the street has been diminished for the past 2 years. And I feel sorry for the angry people that are there talking about this DPW being built next to them. Guys, stay united, fight the fight, do the best that you can to push back on this council, on this township, and try to live a life, because your quality of life will be diminished, just like how the quality of life on folks on Washington Avenue has been diminished due to this ongoing construction. That was my question number one. That trench is still there. I've called numerous times. Emails have been sent to the administrator's office and no response has been given to me. There is a cone now in the middle of Washington Avenue for the past 3 weeks that prevents me from making a left turn into my driveway coming down Washington Avenue towards Pascack Road. I have to go up and use my other entrance into my driveway because I cannot make a left turn into my driveway due to that cone. That cone was hit 2 weeks ago, and a police department member actually had to come back up and put that cone back on the middle of the road. Why has this issue not been addressed? That's my question number one. My second question is, what is the current status of the schedule of the project for the firehouse being completed? What is the expected completion date? Because I understand due to COVID, material and supply has been reduced and it's tough to get material. What is the expected date for this project to be completed? My third question is regarding the BP station and the variance that is being put up in front of the board. So I'm assuming that question is already answered. There is a board meeting tomorrow, and I look forward to attend to it and see regarding that matter. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Just to reiterate, we're gonna, Mr. Tovo is gonna look into the trench. Obviously, the massive cone in the road was to address the safety in the moment. It was not meant to be a permanent solution, and I'm sure it's going to be remedied. And the schedule of the project completion for the firehouse, I'm going to ask Mr. Tovo about that.
The caller is correct. There are supply chain issues with a few remaining items we have left, primarily being doors. We're looking right now at the earliest possible move-in date of mid-June. Again, depending on those doors.
Move-in date, you said,
Correct.
of mid-June? Okay.
Will depend on delivery of doors.
Okay. And by doors, you're talking about the garage doors?
No, exterior doors, otherwise we can't secure the building.
To the garage from the inside, or
All
of the
doors.
exterior? Okay.
All except the garage door.
I meant from the inside, like the interior, like I meant the exterior from the garage into the interior, if they can get to the building from the bay. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, the interior doors, we're okay functioning without them for
That's
now.
why I was asking.
Yeah, so any door that gives you access from the outside,
Right.
those are the ones that are vital.
Right, I was asking about the interior, why that would hold it up, so.
It
Okay,
will
so it's
not.
only the exterior ones.
Correct.
All right, and I believe that was the only questions that I could speak to. Is there anyone else that would like to come up?
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Hi.
My name is Bassem Benjamin, 50 Hemlock Drive. First, I would like to thank you for this nice meeting, but I have three questions. The first question is, what progress has been taken from your side till now, since the first meeting we had regarding the DPW? I see that we are just coming, talking, and you are listening, and you say that you are listening to our voices, and I don't know what progress we have since the beginning. Number two, that's another question, and this is regarding transparency. Why don't we receive President-specific answers that match with exactly the question that we are asking? Sometimes I feel like, I don't know if you receive the question and you understand it and you try to answer somewhere else so that we don't have exact answer, or we are not clear enough for you to answer the question. For example, I'll give you a couple of examples. One of the questions was asked, have you done a traffic survey? And the attorney answered, yes, we did a lot of surveys. We did environmental survey. We didn't have even the result of the environmental survey, right? What was the result for that? Was it positive or negative? We don't know. So you're answering general questions and it's not to the question. It's something else, nothing related to the traffic survey, for example. Another neighbor asked about, we want to have this. I'm just giving examples, not to attack anybody, by the way, but to raise my point. So when she said that we want to turn this into a senior citizen town, right? She didn't mean that you're not doing actions. She meant that by buying those projects, the taxes are increasing, so the seniors will leave. But you're trying to defend yourself, council, to say, no, I'm doing actions, I'm taking them, I'm having them arrangements and part. Yes, the senior citizens are happy with what you're doing, but they won't be able to afford living. That's what she was trying to say. That's why I'm saying that we are asking questions, but you're answering somewhere else and trying to defend yourselves by doing your job. Yes, we did surveys, but it has nothing to do with what we asked. It has nothing to do with what we need. So this is number two. So number one, I need the progress. Number two, we need specific answers, please, for what we are asking. So by now, we don't know when are you going to make the vote. Are we having any chance to back up or not? Rose asked also, my neighbor asked about a question and it was not answered. She said, will we be having another meeting, special meeting, since we will be having the Labor Day on a Monday before you take a decision? Nobody answered this question. So please, we want transparency. We are coming here. We don't want to waste our time and your time. Believe me, we have more important stuff to do. So please treat us as like mature people and tell us what's going on. We don't want to come back and forth. And at the end, you bought the land. You will have the DPW. And good night. Thank you so much. We can't do anything. Right? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. So what progress has been taken? I'm just going to read his questions. What progress has been taken since the first meeting?
I believe I've already answered that. We already came out with another proposal after hearing all of your concerns about putting the DPW there. But unfortunately, things in government take longer than they do in the private sector, like I've said. We can only sit like this twice a month and discuss things in front of the public. And so that's what we do. So that's the progress is, we listen to your concerns. We're working on an alternative. I'm getting the cost estimates. Like I said, I hope to have them by the end of the week. I will share them with the council and the public as soon as I have them, and they're good verifiable numbers. I don't want to put any numbers out there that would be questionable at all. So I think, Council President, if that answers the progress question.
Okay. And then just again, because the mics are very sensitive, the clerk is having a difficult time hearing everything. So although you're just whispering, if there's multiple people whispering, it becomes a little bit of a hum and she's having a difficult time. So please, if you have to talk, just step outside for a second. Council as well. Transparency, why don't we have the exact answer? General, we're answering general, not specific. Mr. Pollard.
Well, I think I'm pretty specific, so let me go over this again, and then you can listen to it very clearly to what I'm saying. I was asked what surveys were done, what consultants were done, what studies were done. That's what I was asked. I was not asked when I did my traffic study. The word traffic was not used. I was asked what studies were done. That's what I was asked. That's what I was asked, okay? Let me just go through this, okay? Let me just make it clear, okay? I don't do traffic studies. That's not part of what my responsibilities are. My responsibilities have to do with the acquisition of the property. And you asked what studies have been done, and I answered what studies I have done. I didn't say what Mr. Tovo has done. I didn't say what the mayor has done. I didn't say what the engineer has done. I didn't say what the planner has done. I didn't say what the health department is. I didn't say anything about anybody else. I'm talking about what Ken Poller has done. Ken Poller ordered a title search. Ken Poller ordered an environmental study, and Ken Poller ordered a survey. That's what I did, and that's what I said. That's the question that I answered. And if you recall, you know that the council president directs people to answer what they can answer. Okay, and I'm not here to answer every single question for every department of the town. So those are the three things I did. Those are the three things I'm responsible for. I hope that's clear. because that's what I've done. So that's as far as I can go, and that's as far as I can give you information.
Okay, thank you. So in the future, as administrator, if there is a question that is asked and I'm not really 100% sure where it gets divided, if you know the answer, can you please jump in and finish out the rest of the question so that all of the answers are mentioned, please?
Just waiting my turn.
Okay, go ahead.
So, regarding the traffic survey, without knowing what the site will be used for, we can't do a survey. So we don't know what the impact of those vehicles will be. Once we decide what the use will be, then a survey can and will be done.
Okay. All right, so that answer, if I'm hearing it correctly, is only after we determine the use that it gets done?
That is correct.
What if, we can't speak from the seat, but I'll try to ask what I think you're going to say. I'm not sure. But then what if in the traffic study, we realize that it wouldn't be the best use for that? Like, couldn't we do it preemptively?
Well, then either you would come up with a new option or you would abandon the project. There's no way to determine what the extra traffic will be if you don't know what the project will be.
But can't we say, and I'm only playing devil's advocate because I have the same question. Can we say, we want to use it as a DPW? Can you do a traffic study on what that would look
If you
like?
want to pay for two studies now, for the two options before the council, you can do that.
What does a study cost?
For one like this, I would say starting at $2,500.
Okay. It's all good information that we have, sure it's not going to be the last time we're asked that.
Would there
Did
be
that
any
answer your
prerequisites to having that study done? Like, would we need an architect's rendering or?
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
No.
Say it again.
Would, in order to do the traffic study, would we need to have a full architect's rendering, or not a rendering, but a full schematic drawing to say these are the entrances and exits for the traffic study? I'm just looking for the prerequisites in order to have a complete and accurate traffic study done.
Yes, entry and exit points would be required, but that would be it.
Okay, thank you.
Can I respond? So I don't know how direct it can be, but there was an insinuation that we're raising taxes to push out our seniors. And that's why I said that's not what I'm doing. I'm embracing our seniors as long as they could be here. I'm embracing them. So that's what I was addressing and defending. I'm not trying to push out our seniors at all.
Okay. Can you email me any further questions? Only because I have to keep the same order.
There was one that I asked tonight, though, but that involves this, that wasn't answered.
If you could just email it to me and I will get you the answer back.
Did I make a statement about taxes? Because obviously taxes are a big concern to everyone. But however, I'm sure you're all pretty much aware how much of your taxes go to the school system. I'm not here to blame the school system. They do a great job with the money they have. But do you all understand that probably close to, if not 70% of your property taxes go to the school? So again, I appreciate everyone coming here. You may all want to go to a school board meeting and express your concerns there. Because again, your municipal taxes in comparison to your school taxes are quite low. So again, if you're concerned about your taxes, please go to the organization that spends the majority of it.
I think that's an excellent idea. And whether you have children or not, you're still paying those school taxes. They don't only charge those with students, with kids in the school. So absolutely, I will probably be meeting you there. So. Okay, sorry, I'm so sorry. As much as I really want to hear every back and forth, we really have to keep a little bit of order. I have someone on the phone. Email me, please, and we'll get you the answer. Hold on a second. Oh, the meeting, I'm so sorry. I didn't see that. I forgot. Will we be having another special meeting due to the holiday because of the timeline?
I don't know if we can actually have a meeting until we have
Yeah,
next set of plans, correct?
That's just what I was
Right?
going to say. Until I get you the cost estimates, I think it's a little premature to discuss a special meeting Again, I expect to have them by the end of the week. I can't commit to that 100%, so I think it might be a little premature to even try and set a special meeting date right now.
And I'd
If we-
like time to review them, whatever plans come out also within a good amount of time to make.
If we get the plans, Madam President, can you schedule one if we get one by the end of the week? I'm willing to come in anytime to have a special
Yes.
meeting.
Yes.
So
We
I'd be
can,
more than
right?
happy to do that.
Depends if I have enough time to advertise.
Yeah, well, it's advertised.
Let's see when it all falls in.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I agree,
Yeah.
Mr.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, what is the likeliness? Can we ask that we get the cost estimates for both those projects?
Again, I said I'm pretty sure by the end of the week.
Okay.
But nothing's 100% in life, as we know, other than death and taxes.
Because I think we're expecting not just cost estimates, but additional drawings on the property and the layout and the structure too. Correct?
I'd be very interested more in the cost, I think, too, is what they're asking as well.
No, I know, but in addition to the cost, we're also expecting additional drawings and layouts of the property, correct?
The thing I'm interested in is a needs analysis for.
If you don't mind, just like an answer from the mayor and the
Go ahead.
administrator?
The only thing I'm aware of is.
Just ask to speak so there's not.
Perhaps less garage bays is what I've heard. And so what I've asked the architect to do is just give us a cost per bay on average. And so that way, if we decide we don't need 8, but we need something less than that, we can back into the cost for that.
And I thought there was supposed to be a little more drawing on the police building
Well,
too.
he has the space needs analysis as to what would go in the building. I don't know if he's going to have time to, we may get the cost before we get the rendering, because that's where I put the priority.
Thank you. So we're gonna, we'll follow up. You'll know, obviously, if we're gonna have a special meeting. We would like one. We have someone on the line who's been waiting, and then you can come on up.
Hi, this is Andrea DeShora. I'm at 552 Hickory Street, Township of Washington. I wanted to thank the mayor for reading that letter, giving some background information as to the problems that the mayor and the town council inherited, and also to thank all of you for the hard work and the efforts. I've been listening to these meetings now, and so appreciate all your hard work and efforts. I think that, personally, I think that in terms of the Charlie Brown property, I think that the option of putting the police department there, to me, sounds like certainly the better of the two options that you have been talking about. And that's something that I would support. I also think that it's really important for towns like ours, here in Bergen County, where people expect, I think, the quality of service. It is important to continue to move forward to provide services for town residents. I mean, if people want to get top dollar for their properties, which they're getting, as you can see, you need to be able to compete with other surrounding towns when it comes to selling your property. And I think that's important to remember as well when you look at the overall picture. Last thing I'll say is that as a senior myself, for those people in the township, there is the senior tax freeze, and I think the deadline date is October 31st. So they can go on the New Jersey website and take a look at that and see if that would be applicable to them and their circumstances. So that is, I think, a support that seniors are getting through the state of New Jersey regarding these taxes that we're paying. So I thank you very much for your hard work, all your efforts, and dedication to the town. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all those kind words and for the information. It's really good to know. I didn't know that.
She makes a great point. Quality of services. If we're going to be paying these taxes, we need quality of services.
Good evening. Alexander Axonov, 776 Highland Avenue, Paramus, New Jersey. So I just want to thank everyone again for being here and expressing everyone's, considerations and concerns. And somewhat, I also want to kind of go in an opposite direction for some of the comments that were made to Mayor Kilmari. I don't know you very well, your background very well, but again, like I mentioned last time, I want to thank you for your thoughtfulness, because I do think you are putting a lot of thoughtfulness into this consideration of Plan A or Plan B, DPW or police station. As a Paramus resident, this is not my home turf, so I just want to say I appreciate that. But I did go to our Paramus home turf council meeting earlier in the week, last week, and I was pleasantly, surprised to see some of my Paramus council people who were here. We had Mr. Councilperson DiPiazza here, Council Lady Ms. Bellinger here, Councilman Antonio here, Councilman Quintas here. So we had some Paramus local representation here also supporting us, Paramus folks, especially the ones that are being impacted with what's happening here. So, well, thank you, and I thank them earlier as well. So, with that being said, again, I want to reiterate some things that I said in my last time I stood up here a couple weeks ago. The police department is welcome in that area. I think the police department would be a great presence in that area for a number of reasons. Given the fact that on Linwood Avenue, people do tend to speed. Someone did mention in 2019, somebody died as a result of that. So I think that would help with that. As I mentioned before, there are going to be kids. There are currently kids that play around on Highland Avenue. There are kids that play around on Linwood Avenue. We want to make sure that their safety is obviously the utmost importance to whatever decision ends up happening here. And I think, as you can hear for yourself over and over again, the constituency believes that the police department would be the best option for that specific location, especially since it's not heavy industrial or light industrial, whatever you want to call it, use with DPW tracks or trucks. So to that extent, I think some of the things, I reiterate with this constituents here, they actually went to the extent of having News 12 New Jersey here. I wonder what else may be the next measure in this whole process that everyone's going through. But, look, you have a citizenry, you have a constituency that's very concerned with what's going to go there for a number of reasons, including devaluation of their property, rezoning laws, a whole bunch of things, safety, environmental. It's just a laundry list of things, as you, Mr. Pollard, I'm sure are aware, as somebody who deals with real estate law and zoning and all those other things, right? So again, I think the voice and the concern of this constituency needs to be obviously of the utmost importance. And one thing that also comes to knowledge is that lots of Jersey towns are structured differently. This is one of those towns that's structured in a way where the mayor maybe makes the tying vote if there's a tie on council, but it's really the council people here that are making the decision for you. It's not the mayor that's making the decision. He may propose something or, bring it to someone's attention, but it's the council people. So I'd say take everyone's name down. There's going to be a vote coming, and I think they should all know that that vote is, at some point in the future, vote them on or off. This is your town. You're entitled to do what you want. So to that extent, I believe Rose brought up a good mention before, because, there are legal tactics called slow playing. Playing against the clock is kind of one of those tactics I think that's happening here. Anyway, long story short, Memorial Day is coming up. You have an option on the contract. You're going to close on that contract. That's, you'd be foolish not to. But a special meeting addressing some of the answers for these folks before you do close on that contract. Traffic study, $2,500. It's not too big of a deal.
1 minute left, sir.
Sure. So some of those studies that I think these folks are asking for to understand what their impact is going to be, I think that's the least you can do. And obviously, please take it into the highest consideration, police department versus the DPW. I appreciate your time. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you.
I'll take one question.
Okay.
Yeah. One thing I did want to say is the mayor does not have a vote, just so you're aware of that. In our form of government, it's a Faulkner government where the mayor is the executive officer. He does bring things to the council. He can lead projects. He can suggest projects, but ultimately the vote is only with the council. He does not have the power to break any ties. It's strictly a council vote. So just want you to be aware of that. Anything to do with spending is controlled by the council. Contracts, they approve them. The mayor is the instrumentality that moves things, that operates the various departments, 9 departments, but the actual voting of the funds and the approval of projects is something for the council. Just thought that would be, you raised it, it was a good point, and I think
That was a good point, and the clarification is, again, that the council only has 3 things it can do. Pass a budget, okay, approve ordinances and resolutions, and special investigations. That's all we can do. Everything else comes from administration, okay? It's a totally different ballgame than Paramus. So the administration presents, we decide if we want to fund it, and that's what it comes down to. So no council member here can do anything unless we want to fund something. That's it. So, exactly. So he would make the deal on the contract if he wanted to with the mayor. Okay? It's true.
Well,
look up, Ken. You know how it works, right?
I definitely know how it works.
I know you know. Okay? And we would approve funding for it. And that's how our form works. Totally different than your form in Paramus. So, just to let you know.
Yeah, I don't want to say, I didn't say you were wrong. What I was going to say is the movement of the contract at this particular point is in the hands of the council. The contract that we have now is a contract.
If we want to fund it.
That's right.
Yes, exactly.
That's
Yes,
right.
that's correct.
I mean, that's
We
the
agree.
council.
That's correct.
That's the council's choice.
Thank you.
Desiree, if I may, I would just like to add, although I'm a non-voting member, I'm not shy about giving my opinion on anything. So to the extent that the council wants to hear my opinion, I'm not shy about giving it. Thanks.
I didn't mean to say you were shy.
Good evening. My name is Tommy Steen. I live at 772 Cosh Peak Avenue. Last month when I was here, I spoke about the new health curriculum standards from the state of New Jersey. I just wanted to update you on the most recent board meeting during which the 4 Washington Township members voted to approve the curriculum for grades K through 5 and 6 through 8. At the meeting, one of the Washington Township trustees seemed to indicate that if her learners were in a district school next year and they were exposed to these sensitive topics, she would opt out of those lessons. Also at Thursday's meeting, a trustee from Westwood stated that she was told by another parent that young students in the middle school have been sharing and exchanging condoms and describing how they use them in the cafeteria. This trustee gave no mention if she or any other adult had reported these activities to Mrs. LaForge, the building principal. Understand, I'm simply trying to report back what I believe I heard as shared by a trustee at last Thursday's meeting. Please listen to the meeting if you want to hear it from the source. Keep in mind that this is the same school which presented a program to the parents as How to Be an Ally, when in fact the actual title was something very, very, very different. Not having a Worms learner, for what I've been told, during the program the students learned about pansexuality, I had to look it up too. While some students were allegedly accused of having white privilege, parents were never given the opportunity to opt out of this program by the Worms principal, which is district policy, I believe, and received only an apology afterwards. A comment, there were suggestions at the meeting also that there are varying parenting skills in other districts and that not every parent is able or willing to provide appropriate guidance or conversations about sex education. I guess my question is, do we as a community feel that we want to rely on our school district and our health education teachers to have these delicate conversations to provide guidance and expectations to our learners? It seemed like at least 2 Washington Township trustees may work in school districts where the parenting skills and parental involvement may or may not be similar to Westwood or Township. Please watch and decide for yourself. A different trustee seemed to suggest that there are instances where district parents are having trouble having conversations with their middle school learners regarding certain topics such as the opposite sex. I don't know if they had any impact on the trustee's decision to approve the curriculum. A Washington Township trustee offered, I err on the side of the liberal side of what kids should and should not learn, end quote. However, a trustee from Westwood self-labeled himself as a prude. Clearly, we've got very different opinions and perspective on what's appropriate to be taught as part of our sex ed curriculum to our learners. I would suggest that anyone interested, please attend in person, or better yet, watch the YouTube videos. All videos are taped. As taxpayers, we need to start paying attention. The board president, during a history lesson of public schooling, seemed to have a different perspective regarding the notion of a parent's rights within public education. I'm pretty sure he and I would disagree on my perception of my rights and role as a parent in this school district. He also mentioned that board meetings are not held for the public when he brought up the suggestion of moving board meetings to start at 6:30 instead of 7. Starting meetings at 6:30 would seem to make the meetings even more of a challenge for concerned advocates to attend and, more importantly, participate during their 5 minutes of public session. I guess the question we as a community, one half of the taxpaying Westwood Regional School District, is what is our community willing to accept? If we need to implement this sex education program because trustees aren't comfortable or unable to have the sex talk with their learners, or the perception that our collective parenting skills are limited, like parents in the town some of them serve, I would suggest all of you listen to the May 12th meeting, then draw your own conclusions. We can agree to disagree, but at least participate. On a more lighter note, well, maybe not for some, I'm going to go there tonight. This past Friday, the grade 3, 4, grade 5, 6, grade 7, 8 girls played lacrosse at Memorial Field against Fairlawn. During the game, I was chatting with a Fairlawn parent who indicated that the two turf-based sports complexes they have in Fairlawn were built with virtually no cost to the borough taxpayers. He indicated that they had leveraged the skills of grant writers who secured government money to provide state-of-the-art facilities at almost zero cost for 2 facilities. My question is, do we have access to such a professional? If so, can we expect to secure monies to pay for a 3rd field and fully turf the multi-purpose field at Memorial Park? I also recently learned that we have 11 lacrosse teams who use Memorial Field continuously every week. I would argue that we actually have 12 lacrosse teams, as the grade 3, 4 girls that my daughter plays on has so many players this year they only get to play every other game. On top of that, you have 10 T-ball teams, 5 grade 1, 2 girls softball teams, 4 grade 3, 4 teams. I think you get the point. We don't have too many players. We just don't have enough fields. So my question to you is, how do we fix the existing tactical problem of gnats and ticks, the short-term challenge of laying turf and adding fields at Memorial, fix the drainage problem at Sherry, and develop a strategic plan to convert the WTSC to a multi-purpose sports complex? Just imagine residents from other towns coming to our facilities and being impressed in the same way that many of us are impressed when we visit towns like Fairlawn, Montvale, and DPAC. To keep doing what we're doing or hoping for a change is not a real or viable solution for any of our players. Please be fair to them. I want to thank you tonight for your time, your volunteered efforts, and the opportunity to speak with you. And I'd also like to recognize if I screw up your title, Vice President Feeney. Her daughter and my daughter happen to be on the same softball team. We have this conversation at least once a week of we've got a problem, we need to fix it. Town is growing at a rapid rate. That's the good news. The really bad news is our town is growing at a rapid rate with a lot of little kids. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
And I support Tommy's every statement.
I'll ask you, what was that program, the government money? I didn't catch where that came from.
Can you repeat the government program that with the turf, the no cost?
The woman who apparently they have a turf committee or something in Fairlawn where, and what this woman suggested was that they actually got those fields done. It was purely through grant writers.
Okay.
I don't hire them or whatever. So
We can contact.
if you've never been over there, it's a ride because their facilities are just.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you so much. It's
Council
good
President?
information. Yes.
Mrs. Steen, I'm very interested in the sex education they're putting upon our children. But I have to warn you, I think you made the FBI list, They might be looking at you tonight. But be careful, but I agree with you. I will back you on anything for any critical race or woke or anything that are forced upon our children. So keep us abreast of it, please.
Yes, and I think it's May 12th for anyone who was listening and wanted to watch the YouTube. It looks like you said it was the May 12th meeting. So watch the YouTube video and then we can, collectively express how we feel as well. Thank you very much for that information.
Madam President,
Yes.
as a council, there's really not much we can do regarding, what the school board does. We're a separate entity. And I have a unique position because I teach health and physical education in public school. And sometimes the teachers are very uncomfortable with what we teach because it's mandated by the state. I can only speak for myself. Some of those topics are very, very sensitive. I don't think I'd have a discussion with my own children. I would even talk to them now that they're 30 and 25 about some of those things. But we have to really be careful because we are a community, and a community is supposed to reflect in its schools what we feel. And in that regard, if you have a concern, you really have to go to the school board, as you well know. So again, this is not the place for us to do it, but as a community, if we feel that way, you should let people know, maybe sign a petition, say, we feel this might be an inappropriate thing. The state mandates a lot from teachers and school boards, as you know, right?
Yes.
That we are uncomfortable with. And if you really have a concern about it, I think school boards should be, and school teaching should be under local control. Okay, because what's good in Washington Township and Bergen County might not be good for Washington Township down in Warren County or Salem County. We're all a little bit different. So again, if you have a concern what's going on in your local school board, let them know. And a good petition is always a good way to let them know. And I do like the opt-in as opposed to opting out.
Yes.
That's my own opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. So while we may not be able to represent the council, we absolutely can represent as a resident and especially as a parent. So I won't go in as Council President Morgan. I will go in as my children's mother. And that's within my rights to do that. So also for anybody who can't get to the meeting because it's just not convenient for them to go or for whatever reasons, emails, as we all know, get just as much attention. So email your school board, express your concerns, and let your voices be heard on that avenue as well.
And Holly Shapisi's office is leading a big charge against the initiative that you spoke about. And I know that there's a few other New Jersey legislators who are too, and she's coordinating with them now. So write, email, phone, whatever you can to her office. There's a big effort, a big push there.
Okay. Is there someone else on the line that?
They were and they left.
Okay. Does anyone else like to come up and speak? You can come up.
Sherry Benjamin, 50 Hemlock Drive. I'm just anxious just because of the time, because time flies. And Mayor, you mentioned about in the past there were decisions that were made pretty quickly, and we're facing all the the outcomes right now. So I'm hopeful whatever decision we're going through now with the Charlie Brown's site doesn't go that quickly. It's been, I think, when you purchased or you started purchasing, it was, I think, in March time. You started signing the contract, it was mid-April. We have till 60 days from mid-April to mid-June to back out from the contract. So it's been almost a month and a half. And as my husband said, we didn't really see as much progress as much as another new architect or drawing for a police station versus a DPW. But again, similar questions every town council we've been coming through about survey answers and cost estimates, and all our concerns hasn't been answered really. I appreciate in the last meeting where you actually pushed the architect to give you the police station drawing pretty quickly. I would like that you would ask him, please, to put this project as a priority because time really flies. I would have hoped for, it's been 2 weeks since our special DPW, that we could have got estimates right now. And thank you for explaining the whole process that the council would be waiting from you on results to get a decision. If I were in their place, I would need that. I would need to see numbers. I would need to see drawings. I would need to see that. So it's really, really delayed. It's been, you guys have only 1 month to decide to back out, or even less. It's actually, and in the middle of that, there's a holiday weekend. So please, if whoever that architect is, try to have him please put this as a top priority. We are all anxious about this, and it's really affecting our quality of life and our life in general. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will delay the contract, yes.
Would anyone else like to come up? Were there any, I'm sorry, I didn't hear any questions to be answered. It's more of like your position and your statement, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's more of a statement.
Okay. Anyone else like to come up? No? Okay. Motion.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Did you want? Okay, yeah. Motion to close public comment? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yes, we're gonna take a five.
No, that is 5 minutes.
Okay, we're gonna take a 5-minute break.
Okay.
Okay. Budget resolutions. Resolution number 22-241, waiver of the reading in full of the 2022 budget. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
No.
Councilwoman Feeney.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Okay, public hearing on the 2022 township budget. Motion to open.
So moved.
All,
Second.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, no.
Take
You want a roll call?
Roll
Take a
call.
roll call.
Roll call.
Okay. Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Okay. Is there anyone on the line? Is there any discussion?
Now, do you have any questions
Make sure.
as a public?
Sorry.
All right, motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Roll call, roll call.
You just picked up on the end of that.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Okay, budget adoption. Mr. Priest, can you come up to the table, please?
Can you lower the air?
Yeah, seriously. It's like you can keep meeting here. So, do I have to do it? Is that what the deal
I'm
is?
sorry.
It got colder because everyone left too, yeah. I feel it.
Where's the hold button? In the middle. Oh, okay. It's in the middle.
Sorry.
We're good.
We're good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's just a resolution that you close already. Now he's here to answer questions, okay? Just do a resolution.
Mhm.
This is adoption of the budget.
Okay.
Second.
After
Oh,
we answer
that's it.
my questions.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, thank you so much for coming. Are there any questions or any discussion? Anyone have any questions for Mr. Brees?
How much of the surplus was added to the budget this year?
The surplus that's used is $1,800,000.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
What was the percentage of the total taxes for the town that constitute the percentage of the municipal taxes?
So the town's percentage is approximately 25% of the tax bill.
Okay, and when I looked at it, I calculated the school is 63.5 roughly percent,
Right, 64, and then the remaining 11% is from the county.
and 1.5 is for the library. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's statute standard, correct?
Statute, correct.
Can you repeat that? What she just asked you, the percentages?
The percentage for the municipal portion is 25%, the school portion is 64%, and the county portion is 11%.
Is how much?
11%
11%, the rest, right? Mhm.
And 1.5 for the library.
of the 25%.
Oh, of the 20, that's in the 25.
Yeah, 25
Oh,
includes the library and the municipal operations.
Okay, because I came up with 23.4, so that's why I was, my math was wrong on the 25, so.
Okay, so I'm going to go down the line. Councilman Casio, do you have any questions regarding the budget?
Yeah, how much is expected in surplus for next year?
We don't have, I mean, for surplus for your current year.
For current year.
For 22. We don't have any projection right now. The 22, we finished the 21 unaudited AFS, and the fund balance is $3,749,987 as of 12/31/21.
Can you repeat that number, please?
$3,749,987.
9%. Okay. And what is the percentage increase in the budget from this year from last year?
On the appropriations budget side, the increase is $740,780, which is a 5.43% increase.
In the total budget, right?
On total budget, correct, from
5.4 what?
5.43%.
Okay. And is that a standard percent you see throughout throughout Bergen County from your experience?
in comparison. Yeah.
Yeah, in comparison to other municipalities?
I mean, I've worked on 2 budgets that were all, a little over 3.5%.
3.5%?
Yeah.
A little over 3.5. Okay, that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Velez, do you have any questions?
No, not at this time. I'll have them answered.
Okay. I agree. Asked and answered too. Mr. Sears?
No, he answered the inquiry.
Okay.
Desiree, may I ask a question
Mhm.
and a statement? Alex, thank you for being here and sorry for the delay. In light of that surplus number you just gave us, would you say the town still has a healthy surplus for its needs?
Yeah, so you're using approximately 48% of your fund balance. And if I look back to prior 2 years, it's been 52% and 46%. So you're about, between the 46 and 52% range for using your available surplus in your budgets.
Okay, thank you.
Desiree, I have another question.
Okay.
Yeah, how much of the cap, last year's cap was used this year and the prior year? So it'd be 2021 and, wait, this is 2023, right? 2021 and 2020.
This is, which cap? You're talking about the tax?
2%, the 2%
The tax
cap.
levy cap? Okay.
The 2% cap.
2% cap. Okay, so
I don't even know if that's calculated in your findings. I have no idea. Just a curious question.
right. So your tax levy cap, you had to use. Looks like you had to use. Actually, you didn't use anything. Oh no, I'm sorry. 24,864 of your 2020 available banking was used to get under the 2% tax levy cap. But there is, 367 still available from the other, for prior years.
367.
367.
377, yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have.
Do you know what the increase for the school was from the prior year? Do you have that or no?
Yeah, so the school tax,
Mhm.
because they adopted their budget, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. Their levy is at $26,827,604, and it represents an increase of $107 per house, assessed at $465,000.
It's a big increase.
400 and what thousand?
465,000 is the average house in town.
And when are we
Yeah.
increasing?
For the municipal budget? what was
Right,
it?
so municipal budget is $126 for the municipal portion and $14 for the library portion, a total of $140 per house, assessed at $465,000.
With the library.
With the library, correct, $140 with the library.
I don't know if you have the statistic, and maybe you do. I don't know if we have it. The statistic. How many households fall within that below that range and above that range? You don't carry that statistic.
No,
right? I didn't think so. I didn't think. Hey, he's a numbers guy. I don't know anything about numbers. I know football scores. That's it. But, okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions? No, okay. Adoption of the 2022 municipal budget resolution number 22-242. May I have a motion?
So move.
I'll second. Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio,
No.
Councilwoman Feeney,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Okay.
Roman Ken.
Yeah, thank you very much for
Thank you,
coming.
Alex.
Sorry we kept you so long, but
Desiree, I don't know if it's for you or the clerk, maybe in future years, I don't know if we have to change the rules to do the budget part first in the meeting. So whoever happens to be here, be it Alex or someone else from his firm, doesn't have to sit through the public necessarily. I'm sure.
It's interesting. Yeah.
I'm sure it was, but.
You were very educated.
So for future years, maybe we can put it first in the
Okay.
meeting.
Yep.
After this meeting, you realize you don't want to come to meetings, right?
I do just have one request. I was wondering if you could get us a list of it'd be possible. I know if you have a list of the increases for the municipal pieces by percentages,
Okay.
For the-
for the past couple.
or just for the last 2 years.
Okay.
I'd just like to get some perspective on the increases across the towns and the area.
Increase.
You could do it. Just put it on first.
Okay.
I mean, if you have dollars too, I don't know, whatever you have, it's, I'm sure you've got a lot of interns working for you right now, so
Yeah, we can do that. That's no problem.
thank you.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, introduction, first reading ordinance number 22-10. An ordinance under chapter 87 of the Code of Township of Washington setting forth the rate of compensation and manner of payment of employees for the year 2022. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 22-10 at first reading by title. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Resolution number 22-243, authorizing publication of ordinance number 22-10 and schedule public hearing. I'll motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Okay. Ordinance number 22-11, an ordinance of the Township of Washington, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, amending the supplementing Chapter 580 zoning to establish conditional use standards for places of worship. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 22-11 at first reading by title. May I
So
have-
moved.
Second.
Goodness. Roll call, Sue?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Resolution number 22-244, authorizing publication of ordinance number 22-11 and schedule public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Sue?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes.
Okay, just so you know, this will be sent to the planning board for its comment. And we have to wait for their comment. They have 30 days to comment to us on the ordinance before we have our hearing. So it should be, it's soon enough to refer it to them. And I don't know what the date for the second reading is, but if we get it in time, we can have it. If not, we have to adjourn that date until after we get the recommendation from the planning board.
Okay.
Okay?
30 days.
There is a planning board meeting on Wednesday.
They could give us the response much quicker than
Yeah, but
that.
I don't know if
Yeah,
she's
I-
gonna get this on, yeah.
I
And
would
then
just-
she's not
yeah.
gonna have one for another,
I know,
like,
a couple weeks. at
couple
least.
weeks at least.
Yeah.
Can we get it sent over for this week then? It's not on the agenda, is it?
Yeah.
Always forget about that pesky, let's vote.
Okay. Resolution consent agenda. The following items have been determined to have the unanimous consent of council and will be enacted in one motion. Should any item require independent consideration, any council member may have such item removed from the consent agenda. Does anyone have any resolutions to be removed from consent agenda for discussion?
I'd like 249 and 250.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Resolution number 22-245, authorized payment of bills April 28th, 2022 to May 10th, 2022. Resolution number 22-246, authorized refund of 2022 summer recreation and swimming season pass fees. Rachel Nicola, in the amount not to exceed $1,240. Resolution number 22-247, authorized refund of 2022 Summer Rec Tomahawk Lake Water Park fees, Alyssa Shaw, in the amount not to exceed $50. Resolution number 22-248, authorized tax collector to prepare and issue estimated tax bills for the third quarter of 2022. Resolution number 22-251, authorize the mayor to execute Uniform Shared Services and Consolidation Act agreement between Borough of Saddle River and Township of Washington for the shared use of the Borough of Saddle River Certified Municipal Court Administrator. Resolution number 22-252, authorize submission of an application for DMHAS grant funding from Municipal Alliance for 1 year, for year one grant term, 7/1/22 to 3/14/23 in the amount of $4,620.
She's also available to speak about that if anybody has any questions about that grant.
That's Department of Mental Health, correct? It has to do with mental health?
I believe that's what it is.
Okay.
It's a long title.
Okay. I have no inquiry. Does anyone else wish to hear about it?
Just to be clear, that there's no matching funds here, it's a straight up grant.
Okay. Great.
Make a motion.
Okay, motion to approve consent agenda resolutions?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Resolution number 22-249, authorize appointment of Joseph Citro as the qualified purchasing agent for a 1-year term.
Question.
Yeah.
We need to, I think we have to
Yeah,
motion.
No, make a motion.
Got a second.
A motion?
Motion.
Okay.
Got a second.
Second?
Second.
Yeah, I have a- discussion?
Yeah. Who's our purchasing agent now?
Our purchasing agent would be the person listed in the salary ordinance. This is for a QPA.
Okay, who's doing this function before?
The same person listed here since 2019.
Did you do it? Did someone do it prior to him?
Couldn't tell you. I wasn't here.
Is this a 1-year appointment? Is that why he's being
It's
reappointed?
an annual plan. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, so it should say reappointment maybe.
Okay. So no one else is qualified to do that in town? No one else that qualification?
We have an employee that has finished the courses to be our QPA, but the test has not been offered by the state.
Okay. All right, I'm fine with that one right now.
Okay,
And
I'm
then-
gonna do both of them and then we'll do roll call together, if that's okay?
That's fine.
Resolution number 22-250, authorize awarding of contract for municipal architect to Arcari Iavino AI, for a 1-year term. Motion?
So moved.
I'll
I'm
second.
sorry, who moved?
You know, I really don't think you should do it that way.
No, you should do one at a time.
You did the other one.
One at a time.
You had a motion, you had a second, you had discussion, take a roll call,
Okay,
and then move on to the next one.
all right. Roll call?
Councilman Cassio.
This is on.
This is on
249, right?
Resolution
Yeah.
22-249. I do them I thought it would be easier to do it
No,
that way
you want
because
it
we do
separate.
enact them all in one term the first
Yeah,
time.
but
So when you pull them, if you,
But they're two separate, there could be two separate issues with each one. There could be a separate issue with each one.
Someone may vote no on it, even if the
Yes.
explanation, so.
Right.
okay.
Councilwoman Feeney.
Yes.
So
Councilman
glad
Sears.
it's my meeting.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Hold on, I'm sorry. It's 249.
249 you're
Yeah.
voting on.
Yes.
And Council President Morgan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Resolution number 22-250, authorize awarding of contract for municipal architect to Arcari Iavino for a 1-year term. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
I just want a separate vote.
Okay.
No discussion.
Okay, no discussion.
Well, does anybody
Dr.
else have any
Cassio just
questions?
wants a separate vote. So,
You can discuss it.
roll call?
I think Ms. Feeney wants to
Oh, sorry.
discuss.
That's okay. So, this is for the,
Architect.
yeah, thank you. This is for potentially Charlie Brown's, correct? Or just in general?
It's the architect that's currently working on that project, yes.
Okay,
It's a reappointment.
okay, thank
for
you.
the end of the year.
That's what I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Sure.
Is that it?
That was it. I just
Okay.
wanted to make sure that that was the existing one from prior.
Okay, so, may I have a, okay, roll call, Sue?
Councilman Cassio.
No.
Councilwoman Feeney.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Okay, adjournment to conference agenda. Can I have a motion?
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did everyone say aye?
Aye.
We're not doing closed session, right? There's nothing there.
I don't think so.
No.
Okay, project tracker, Mr. Tovo?
Yeah, I'm sorry, there's no tracker in here. There's been virtually no change. The tracker was last presented. Virtually all the projects on there have been completed. We're passing the budget tonight. I can have all of our new projects. Our next meeting, you'll be looking at that.
I will ask, I don't know if this is something we can put on there, but I think I don't know where it belongs, but I do want to talk about it at some point. I think the project tracker is a good tool because it keeps us honest and it keeps us organized, and it reminds me, I can't speak for anyone else, but it reminds me to ask the question about what's going on. I would like to have an understanding of how often, there's two things, how often the basins are being cleaned. I would like that to be part of the project tracker if it's not already, I haven't looked. And then the other piece is the spraying of the swim club for the mosquitoes, since the pool does have some stagnant water and will, regardless whether we clean it out once a week or whatever, every time it rains, there's going to be stagnant water. So the increase of the mosquitoes is going to be significant. So I would ask that if it can't be put on project tracker, another way that we can show, how often it's being done, we could do that at monthly meetings.
First off, when it comes to the cleaning of drains, we generate reports for that, so I can provide the reports on a monthly basis. It's going to be very difficult to create a tracker for that. And secondly, regarding the pool, we are going to be draining the pool, so that issue will go away.
Okay. And with all due respect, and I do mean this with all due respect, I have asked before in previous meetings for the drain cleaning report.
And you received it.
No, but on a routine basis.
That's on me, Desiree, and I do apologize. With everything going on, it fell off my radar, so.
That's why I feel like it should be
apologize.
on project tracker.
Mhm. Yeah.
I understand things happen, but that's where I feel like the project tracker holds us kind of a little more accountable because it's listed there and
Yeah.
that's right, we have to report on that. So maybe just add report for whatever on there. And then, Mr. Toba, I had just mentioned, because it's a pool, even though it's going to be drained and et cetera, it's still a pool that's open, it's not covered or anything. And even if it was covered, it's going to have pooling water. So I'm asking, it's such a large
What we're
area.
going to do is put a pump in the pool that will have a float that will keep it dry, and the leaves will be cleaned out. And then we are putting up a construction fence around it that should anyone find their way into the property, they'd have to cross another fence to actually.
No,
get into the
I'm more
pool.
concerned with the mosquitoes than people.
Okay, well, we believe the pool will be dry once that pump goes in.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But there's no way to kind of keep track of how it's doing. I have to just remember to ask every meeting. It's a huge.
The pool?
Yeah.
Well, the DPW guys will keep an eye on it, and, if they see the pump isn't functioning, they'll address it.
Okay.
I just had a few questions. I was wondering also, in addition to those items, could we also add a list of the roads and the anticipated dates in our packet from the road program? Because I think that would be helpful to the residents too. I know it's on our website. I completely understand that, but I think also
agree.
if we could put it in the packet and we can go on the website as part of the meeting, it'll help
Us
people.
answer questions too when they ask, right? It'll help us answer some of their questions.
Right, but it's also visible to the residents in another place, and I think some of the people who aren't as, technologically savvy, it'll be as part of the handouts. If you don't mind, if you could just include it going forward, I would be appreciative.
Well, please keep in mind, until a contract is awarded for paving, we have a pre-con meeting.
Right.
We won't know their schedule.
So maybe potential list,
So
and then,
the list of the roads are already out there.
yeah,
That's all we know right now.
okay,
Once we have the schedule from the contractor, we can put that out.
okay, that would be, if you please, I think that would be very helpful. If I had just a couple questions on the report from the firehouse, if that's okay. It says that the the firemen picked a color, gray horizon. I know that was the last meeting, that wasn't this meeting. So, but it says that a price to stay in the front of the sides of the building. I was just wondering, so that wasn't included in the original contract?
Correct, it was not.
Okay, I was wondering, I don't know if it's, you've already, I don't know, is it done?
No, it hasn't been done yet.
Not yet.
No.
You know, this might be presumptuous of me, but I was thinking Benjamin Moore just released a whole bunch of new products. I was wondering if we would reach out to them to see if they would be willing to maybe donate some of the paint to us for this. They've just released a whole bunch of products that have to do with exteriors and things like that. And there's a new president at Benjamin Moore. There are neighbors in Montvale. They're very much community oriented. They do a lot for the community. I do know the CFO over there. Be more than happy, but I was thinking maybe it's you know, it doesn't hurt to ask. The worst thing they say is no.
Do you have a contact there by
Yeah.
any chance? All right, yeah, if you forward it to us, sure, we'll be
Yeah.
happy to ask.
I mean, I'm sure they would like some pictures and a little publicity, but I'm sure the town would be, I don't know, Mr. Tovo, unless you disagree.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Okay. I just thought it was an idea,
Yeah.
you know, I
No,
did,
please send us the contact, we'll
Yeah.
be happy to.
especially since they're literally right.
Yeah, up the road.
They're by Wegmans, yeah. So my other question was regarding the moving and pivoting of the generator. So it says to determine what would happen with Monument Park. So then the generator would go in the space where Monument Park is. Is that I know it's not the definite plan, it's a potential plan, but has that changed?
I'm sorry, Bob, go ahead.
We work very closely with the site engineer, which is Boswell, on this to maximize our ability to provide parking when the project is done. By moving the monument to the westernmost portion of our property and turning the generator perpendicular to the roadway, we will gain more parking.
Okay, great, thank you. That's what's,
Yeah, and everyone thinks aesthetically it might look better also.
I
It will.
can't agree more, yeah. And then, well, I just had one other question. So I see that the truck is supposed to arrive this week.
The new ladder
The
truck?
new ladder truck, yeah.
No, not this week. It's been postponed 1 to 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. I was wondering, since our Paramus neighbors are just so friendly and they're looking to collaborate with us, if we had a storage issue, maybe they would be willing to help us out.
We have explored every storage option for this equipment in Bergen County. There's
I know.
nowhere to take it.
But you know, based on the attendance of our Paramus neighbors, maybe that would be a conversation that, you know, we should have with them.
We'll get it.
Okay.
Where is it going to be stored in the meantime?
Right now, the vendor doing the last part of the upfit is storing the vehicle.
Okay.
Which is
And
very
they will-
nice of
And
them.
they will continue to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just-
Not indefinitely, but if we meet our target, they should be okay with it.
Okay. I'm just saying, since we have such
Yes, helpful neighbors.
helpful neighbors who are saying they're willing to collaborate.
Yes.
Sure, they'd be willing to not charge us for some industrial space on their end.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
That's all the questions I had.
All right, anyone else on Project Tracker? Okay, and then ordinances and legislation, I had a discussion of possible amendment to the building number ordinance. I think that it was very much, it mirrored another ordinance that was used in another town, very similar. So if we could just tweak some of the verbiage from, you know, as long as the house numbers are visible and well lit, address just what meeting compliance looks like. So I wasn't sure, Mr. Poller, if you had brought anything like per our conversation, or if you have any thoughts on how we can do that, because a lot of people, you know, a couple of residents everyone agrees why we need it. It's a safety concern, but there has been some discussion about, like, you know, what they already have, if it's reflective and if it's already meeting that need, but the verbiage in the ordinance speaks to where it needs to be placed exactly.
Right. So I looked around, and if you remember, this ordinance was the recommendation of the Councilman Cumming. He wanted this particular ordinance, and we put this particular ordinance in. So that's why this ordinance went in.
Yep.
As far as the tweaking, it's all ordinances are subject to tweaking because, let's face it, different situations come up. One size may not fit all. So I looked around for different approaches. And I'm sure if I keep looking, I'll find even more. But just some of the approaches, I mean, you have them, some very simple that just say every building along the streets of the town, borough shall have a number displayed thereon at least 3 inches in height. Said number shall be placed at the entrance of each building. End of story. That's a real simple one. There's another one that says, once a street number has been assigned, the owner or owners shall place the house number at or near the entrance of the house. Such number shall be at least 3 inches high. Lettering of numbers as well as the use of Arabic numbers is permitted. End of story. Another one, this one I thought was pretty decent. The number so assigned to each building shall be displayed by the owner or occupant so that it may easily be read by a person seated in a vehicle on the adjoining street. The building number shall be Arabic. Numerals shall be no more than 5 feet above grade and shall be located on the mailbox, post, or other suitable holder, located no more than 10 feet from the edge of the pavement of the roadway on which the property is situated. The designated number shall not be obstructed by shrubs or other materials and shall be in contrast in color to its background. So that's that one. Another one.
I like some of that.
Yeah, some of
but
that's
it's
good.
a little too specific.
Yeah,
And
okay.
we have mailboxes.
Yeah, it shall also be, let's see, another one, it shall also be the duty and responsibility of owners, occupants, and operators to assure that all premises are properly identified with the street number as assigned by the appropriate official, which number shall be clearly visible from the street at all times.
I think that one's probably most fitting because many people, I can say
Right,
even
right.
Councilwoman Velez, who
Mailbox.
have long, it's on the mailbox.
It's on a
and very
mailbox.
long
Ours
driveways.
doesn't allow it.
Right, right.
That's where we have the ordinance that was pushed through because we didn't really.
Right, well,
look
we're
at
fixing it, so
Well,
we're fixing
Maybe
it.
it just needs to be more general.
We're
House
tweaking
numbers
it.
need to be
Let me just
visible
say
from
that,
the
let me just say
street.
one thing about that, about pushing through an ordinance. I don't necessarily think that was so pushed through because, when you do something like that, and if you remember, Steve, we have the driveway ordinance. And we thought we had a great driveway ordinance, and we passed the driveway ordinance. And then some people came in, and they didn't have a driveway, and they had driveways that ended by the street, and all of a sudden. So, the town is not this harmonious,
We're off.
well laid out.
It never is.
You have to check with
When
WCTV.
you walk,
One at a time, I can hear you.
No, so what I'm saying is, even if you sat and said, okay, let's come up with a number, guaranteed, you'd have to tweak it because people.
You always have to tweak.
Exactly.
You always have to tweak it. But here's my point
We're not.
with that particular ordinance. Okay, we basically followed one. We said a similar like town. Okay, and we basically used most of Fairlawn's.
Yeah.
Correct, right? Well, Fairlawn is not like Washington Township. Have you ever tried to find an address in Fairlawn? They're crazy numbers, right? It's like 20-26.
22.
You can never find anything, right?
Yeah.
So that's just my point. They weren't similar areas. So that's that, and I understand Art's meaning to do it. I get it, because it's about a safety thing. But if you rode around town before this thing went out, you could basically see every number on every house, okay? Yes, you could,
No.
because I rode
No, I
around.
disagree.
And you
Not
can see
in the
almost
dark.
every number
Not in
on
the
every
dark.
house.
You're not in the dark. You're not in the dark.
And you're gonna have
If you
those,
talk to
you're
the
gonna have those
emergency
illuminated.
services-
You're gonna have those illuminated at night.
They have to be, you have to be able to see them. They have to either be reflective or have light on them. That is definitely because it's for the ambulance, it's for police, it's safety.
You can
So-
even have the town put those blue ones out that
Let me
are,
ask you a question.
you can
One
even
at
have
a
the
time,
town,
please.
you can even have the town put those blue ones out. There's blue ones you can get and they're reflective and it's like royal blue with white and they're on mountain on a few of the houses.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Because the front door is so far from
Yeah.
the street.
Can you make someone, if they already have their numbers up there and you have a new ordinance, now those people are gonna have to go back and get reflective numbers?
Well, if you put the ordinance in.
Okay, so now pretty much everyone that doesn't fit, those people have to go out and spend whatever amount of money to either move their numbers
or changing numbers into reflective. So I don't mind, if you want to change away, but I think it should be grandfathered. What you have already is good.
But it's not being done arbitrarily, Steve. It's being done because it poses a safety issue when the police can't get to the right address at the right time. It's a matter of minutes. You know this. It's a matter of minutes. If there's a heart attack, something going on, and they're looking in the dark for a house, there's a burglar, or there's something.
Our police don't know where houses are.
We can't guarantee that. What if we have a cop in town? You can't guarantee everyone
I hope
knows.
so before he puts them on the road that they know where things are.
We can't take those.
Every
kind of
house
things.
number in every town, you want a cop to know that?
Every town, we got one pit town
I
and
said
one set
every
of cops, right?
in town, you expect them to know every house number on every street.
They should know where everything is.
For 3,300 houses, they should know every
How about
address.
the ambulance, the volunteer ambulance?
Steve, do you hear what you're
that comes
saying?
at night? Come on.
Yeah, I do hear what I'm saying. I do. Because if you're familiar with the town, which most police are, I hope, have some idea of the range that they're in.
The range, yes.
Right?
Seconds
Exactly.
matter.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
if
Seconds
somebody's in
matter.
trouble, the house is dark, and
Exactly.
the lights are not going to be
Listen,
on, they need to be able to
that's
see.
my
it.
council will vote on it.
That's
All right.
my opinion,
But let me just say,
I'm not
I
that
brought
bad
this
opinion.
forward not because the person was opposed to lighting their signs on their house, their number signs. They 100% understood the need and actually appreciated the need to do this. It was just, if we have something that already fits that need, does it have to be so specific to be like putting nails into their aluminum siding rather than a mailbox that clearly indicates what the house number is? And that's the basis of this. It's not, are we over policizing? Are we over,
Governing.
yeah, over governing the town? That sometimes we tend to think that way. That this is not one of those times. This is a safety issue that we can address
I disagree.
very simply. And if there is a hardship, a financial hardship, I think it can be done on a case-by-case basis where we can do something, I don't know. But most people are probably compliant and it can be found. But for those people who in the dark, you can't find the house, this is a very small price to pay to make sure that every second counts and that they get the care that they need immediately. So, I don't see the downside to doing this.
There's always a way to work with a resident who has a need, who can't comply with what's going on,
Right.
but should have their house identified. We can find a path forward. I mean, we could maybe, Daisy, make it part of that senior, if it's a senior who's maybe
Absolutely.
lack of mobility.
Absolutely.
Again, I said it'd help you with that, and we could work, there's some volunteer hours in there for a
Case by
scout
case.
or.
And just if you look at Van Emberg, there are houses that it's because some of the homes are behind others. You have 642, 666, 652. They do not go in order because of the way the properties were divided.
We also have, most police cars do have their GPS. Okay, we do live in that
But
town
it
of
does
technology.
happen, when,
Of
especially,
course it happens.
especially if you've,
Of course it happens.
there's been many times where you miss it because you're looking for the descending or ascending numbers and they are not in order.
Nope, they're
And
not.
in a moment of rush, that becomes a problem and it
Right.
becomes a
More
danger.
police
So-
training, I guess we can put it down to that.
Right.
Well, a house number versus someone's life, I
It's
think
not
is a
just
good price to
police, it's
pay.
ambulance, it's fire department, it's everybody, right, it's public safety, exactly.
And I say that because I'm one of those homes on Van Emberg, and we did have to have the ambulance come years ago, and this was an issue.
And even ambulances out of town. Not everyone knows our town.
Right.
We
Hillsdale
handle a
comes.
fraction of our own ambulance calls. So you want people from Hillsdale to know all our house numbers and
And
things
the
like that.
paramedics that come, right? The paramedics that come from county, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's a worthwhile inconvenience.
And as Vice President Feeney said, we can help our seniors, no problem. And if somebody's having trouble, by all means, senior or not, we're more than willing to help.
Okay, so with all of that said, pen to paper has to still be the order of the day. So I'm going to the one that
That was very
Council
specific.
President was, that was very specific that you didn't like. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, but we'll just remove some of those.
Yeah, okay, but let's talk about it for a second. So
Okay.
basically, the object here is, so if there's any emergency service vehicle on the road, they would be able to see the number of the house basically from the street.
Correct.
Very easily, correct? right? Okay, so, and this one that I pulled from Upper Saddle River here, it said here that shall be no more than 5 feet above grade, shall be located on the mailbox post or other suitable holder,
That's good.
located no more than 10 feet from the edge of the pavement of the roadway on which the property is situated. I think that's pretty good.
I do too.
And that meets Van Emberg.
I think that's
And that
pretty
meets
good.
Van Emberg's
And then it
requirements
says, and then it
homes
says
that aren't close to the road.
designated number shall not be obstructed by shrubs or other materials and shall be in contrasting color to its background. So you don't make it green if you have bushes there.
Right.
So I think it's pretty good.
Okay.
I think that's pretty
And
good.
then we can get solar lights.
Now, the only thing it doesn't address is, should it be reflected lights, or well lit, or that-
Visible from in the
It needs
dark,
to be-
maybe.
We're addressing this for the nighttime.
Okay, yes, all right. So I can put
Visible
that
in the
there.
dark.
I can put that in there. So we can save what we have on that. Let me see something.
I don't think we should say lights,
This is-
because not everybody's gonna be able to
now,
run
is it-
lights
is
and
it-
power.
So you want it to be
number.
reflective or lit?
Or
How's
well
that?
lit, right.
Reflected or well lit?
Area.
Well, I'm gonna say lit.
All right, well lit,
Just lit.
yeah. Or
Well,
lit.
don't say well lit, because they be.
Yeah, lit. It's reflected, reflective or lit.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
So is there a grandfather clause in there? Or no?
No, there's no grandfather clause. It's the purpose of this is to have houses available for the emergency services to be found.
Okay.
Right.
Otherwise, the grandfather would be dead.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
It doesn't mean that what he says. That is not, he does not mean that.
No, that was not.
Uh-huh.
I'm a grandfather, so I can say it.
Okay, so check, that's
Too bad you
done.
don't live in Township. It's age friendly.
So
See that? Yeah.
Karen, for the next meeting, you'll have a draft of some sort?
Yes,
Something.
Okay.
yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
And under, okay, so we have nothing under financials, under miscellaneous, the pride flag I was just following up on. Pride flag, June 1st begins Pride Month. So where are we with the pride flag?
I know it's been ordered. I'm not sure it's in yet, but they're aware of when it goes up.
Okay, so it's in?
I think it's a.
Yeah, okay.
It's in.
Just
Okay,
give me-
excellent. All right, so that's good. That's a quick one. The next one is Finnerty Place. I received an email, which was really concerning because it is something that prompted that fence back in 2020. On Finnerty Place, back then, if you remember, we had children that were darting out with their bikes straight out of that entrance, that little pass through from the shopping center through Finnerty Place. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about? Okay.
Yeah, I recall this.
All right, and then we put up the blue fence because we were trying to stop them from going into the street from there. It did not curb it, it just made the kids get a little more creative and presents still the same danger. The whole reason to do this was I personally saw children almost get run over at that time, and then was in the car another time where maybe days later where I was driving and a child darted out. So that's when I brought it to your attention, and thankfully you made a very, it was handled very quickly. Since then, a resident who lives close to that area herself almost ran three girls who now cross the berm to cross the street. So they're coming up with these different ways. And I think just the whole structure of how it is, the berm sits at the edge of the curb, which was the same problem with where the bushes were. They were at the edge of the curb. So by the time the person passes past that edge, they're already in the street. So this resident had an excellent suggestion, a couple of them actually. So let's see what it was. So she had mentioned that it'd be very helpful to open the walkway and trim back the evergreen along the side, and perhaps put a crosswalk indication or a speed bump in that area, because the speed signs are useless, and I have to agree. People do not pay attention to them. The speed on that tiny stretch of road, I'm not sure what it is, but I think it was supposed to be 20 miles an hour. And for some reason, it seems that they're flying through there. So I do think it should be a top priority. The blue fence I know it was a good attempt, but I do think we need to like lengthen the sidewalks, do something where when they come out of the berm, that there's still some visibility for a couple of feet before they jump out into the street. You guys know where I'm talking about?
So are you saying to create a sidewalk along the tree side of it?
Or cut back the berm to create that sidewalk.
Is that our property?
We don't own that property.
But then how about the street then? We'd have to,
Well, Desiree, the police are working on it again. So if you could send me that resident suggestions and any of the council, I will get them to look at it in connection. They're looking at making more of that side of the street, no parking for better visibility, and recommending cutting back some of the bushes also. So that's on their radar right now. But if you send me those suggestions, I'm happy to see if they can incorporate those also.
okay, if it can be like.
The no
because
parking
it's-
is a good idea.
What's
I think the no parking might be a good idea from visibility from the
Right.
corner of Washington not Washington,
Yeah.
excuse me, from
Yeah,
Pascack.
Pascack Inn and Woodfield Inn
Yeah.
also, they're extending that.
It's a definite good start. However, if you have a minute, just go through there, just walk
I
through
have,
it.
we do.
And
Yeah.
you'll see, even if there's no cars there, because that's what happened the day that I was there. I was driving and I was driving on the right side of the road, like I'm supposed to, down toward the lake. And had I been just 2 seconds, maybe 5 seconds sooner, I would have run the child over as their bike went into the street. And there's no way to see it. It's there.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering, like, if it isn't our property, but poses a threat to the safety of pedestrians, don't we have a right to have it removed?
Well, you'd have to
That
eminent
what
domain,
removed?
I think, a piece
Is that
of
what
land.
removed as?
If the property is not ours, but the structure or the growth that's on the property presents a danger where you can't see, it's a dangerous, just like you can't put a big fence up on a corner.
Like the line of sight.
Right, if it interrupts the line of
If
sight.
if there's anything in the right of way causing a safety issue or a site obstruction, we can take action on it.
Yeah,
To the point where we want to put a sidewalk in the right of way, we have the right to do that.
okay.
But one thing to keep in mind is if you're talking about taking out any of those bushes, it will remove the screening from the residents who wanted those bushes to not see the shopping center. So safety, in my opinion, trumps everything, but you will be hearing from those residents that you've taken away the screening that they've come to expect.
To the loading docks, that was the whole point of that.
Yeah, and even the top of the buildings.
So
I think it's trim back more, trim them back and keep them, I don't know.
the sidewalk idea is good, but then who is responsible for snow removal? Would it be DPW there? Or who owns that sidewalk now?
Well, if it's right away, the property owner.
Property owner.
Could we-
They're responsible.
But
If we extend it, if we extend the sidewalk, leave the berm as it
You can
is,
actually assess
and
them.
extend out the sidewalk 2 feet, would we be able to do that?
Let's run it past the police. That's why we pay them to
So the
We
traffic,
have to
look at these things.
the traffic officer, you're
Yeah.
saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're acting legally, yes, we can, but we should really we should survey it.
Okay, how do we make
Could
it?
they do a presentation for us, maybe at the next council meeting with their suggestions, or just submit like a sketch, or I don't know?
I don't think we have
Well,
them.
I asked
Well, I
for
don't know. Well,
everyone's suggestions to go to them.
That's your opinion. That's your
And then-
opinion.
And then they'll
That's your
I'll have
opinion.
them issue a report. It may not be a presentation.
Yeah,
but they'll
report,
issue a
that's fine,
report.
or something. They could
Yeah.
give us something that says that
Yeah.
this
Here's
is their
what their
plan.
what they think will make sense.
So how do you want the feedback to come to you?
Via email, please.
Email?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a sidewalk would be beneficial for just people in general that are walking around to the library or from the library to the shopping center.
All right, so to increase the sidewalk footage or whatever that is, I definitely do not want to remove any of the,
Screening.
any of the screening. That's not the point. The
Okay.
point is to create more visibility from when they're coming out of that area before they hit the street.
Okay.
Because we can't stop them. They are going over the berm or they're going over the emergency exit. It's still the same thing. Okay. And so then I have the cheer program, K through 1. The signups are going to be June 1st. So they're going to be June 1st, running through July 1st for signups through the Community Pass, Washington Township Community Pass. The practices are going to, the program is going to run, it is an intro to cheer program for kindergarten through first grade, open to all Washington Township and Westwood residents. It's going to run from August 27th through October 8th. When is the town day?
October 1st.
October 1st.
It's the first Saturday in October.
Perfect. So they will cheer at the town day, and then their last.
Did you say October? What was it?
October 8th.
8th.
Yeah.
Okay.
That following Saturday. It's Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Memorial Field. That was confirmed today. We are going to leave it open, and if we have a massive sign up, we'll have multiple teams. So I've gotten a lot of interest from the second graders that used to be in Westwood or that would have been going to the Westwood program. They would like to come back and make it a K through 2. I did say the preference, because there's already a second grade program available to second graders, that the preference would be through K to 1. And if we're not completely inundated, we may be able to look at second graders. But because K to 1 doesn't have a program, I figured we would give it to them first. But just FYI, if you do hear or get some emails about second graders wanting to join our program, it is because Westwood's program, and this is probably going to go to the rec board, Westwood's program is asking of their second graders 3 mandatory practices a week, plus a game, which means that they can't play other sports while they're in it. Right. But, you know, who knows? They may be flexible once the season starts. So I told the parents to hang tight with that. But in the meantime, if we have space, I would absolutely take second graders. That was that. And then the fourth thing was the mosquitoes and stagnant water. There's 2 things here. I don't know, how do we remind people to, I guess it's a code enforcer, that now that the warmer weather is coming and there's tons of people who have planters that are not full of plants and they're just in that upright position and there's water catching in them. We're going to have increased mosquitoes and, you know, I don't know if we had, and if there's something that code enforcer can go around and do, or what we do with that. It's just reminders. Is it just a PSA?
More likely to be the health department that would do that. But we can certainly do a PSA to remind people.
So we can add it to PSAs through the summer months. Okay.
But it does get it is on our social media every year and on our website every year.
What does it basically say?
I can forward it to you.
Like dump your.
It says do not let.
stagnant
No,
water.
it talks about do not. No, standing water attracts mosquitoes, which breeds
3 inches of water, right?
Yeah.
something like that.
No,
Yeah, that's what it says.
And
It is.
people leave dog balls out. I'm guilty of it. In the rain, and then I come out and 2 days later and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's covered in gnats and mosquitoes or whatever. And so I'm just.
And the county spray schedule is also on our website and the Facebook page too.
Okay.
So
Let's have the resurrect what we had last year.
Okay. Excellent.
Can I don't know, can I ask a question of that idea? It's
Yeah.
not
Spin
in
off
there.
of that. Yeah.
A spin-off? I know there's a tick surge going on right now at some of our fields.
Mm-hmm.
So do we have a game plan? Is there a game plan? It's getting warmer, so they're out.
We reached out to the Mosquito Commission. They have no provisions or ability to spray for ticks. We did a little more research. No one does. If we can come up with a way to do this, we can all retire very, very young and very rich. Our results are yielding 0 results.
There is one landscaper that does post, he does it in town. I'll send you his name.
Please, I'm up with any idea.
Yeah. But he does spray for ticks.
Because it's, I mean,
It's the
you're
first
not
I've heard
even
that
high,
anybody
high
can do that,
bushes.
so.
Yeah, I'll send it to you tomorrow.
And to the other members of the council, if you hear another way, let me know.
Okay. I mean, I'll ask her, I know,
Thank you.
as well.
But I did have the mosquito commission, they sprayed all the wetlands, along the, Cleveland, Avenue Bridge on the other side. They sprayed the whole banks of, Bethany, the waterway, and I think they completed this week. I've seen them there, Friday was my last day there. So they did spray the whole wetlands area back there.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't know if they're,
How often does that happen?
when you call
So you have to just consider, there's no schedule.
Well, no,
them, they do
twice
once
a
or
year.
twice, yeah.
Twice a year.
Okay.
Twice a year, and you can also call them if there's a
Right.
problem flaring up.
Okay.
Yeah, we call them on demand for the summer concerts
And
at
the
Memorial
summer
Field ahead of
movies, yeah.
time.
They're pretty good about it. They come very early, 4 a.m. or so.
Okay. So, there's nothing for closed session. The next meeting of the Township Council will be on Wednesday, June 8th, 2022, beginning at 7:30. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.